Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
All right, welcome to the Dan Le Batard Show once again. Game 4, people, and we bring in one new member of the team. Roy returns, but a new member of the team, Jeremy.
I'm here to make sure we get to 5 games.
No,
yes,
Jeremy.
That's
no.
exactly, you know how like the league is like the conspiracy theories, like this needs to go the full 5 in order to get the ratings up. That's what Jeremy's
We
here.
did. We went on a hot streak.
Yeah. We won yesterday, and we're like, get Jeremy for tomorrow.
You're welcome.
It's like the ref. They send in that one ref.
He's got to call a close
I'm Scott
one.
Foster.
Way to go, Adam Silver, to try to stretch this game out. So that means you want to start with the Dodgers. Nah, we'll get to the Dodgers. We got Ja Morant gun stuff. We're going to do some Saudi wealth fund investment in sports. Charlie and I became gym bros yesterday. Amin thinks he's much cooler than me. Melo going to the Hall of Fame. Where do you want to start, Amin?
I want to talk about what kind of nerd you and this
Oh,
and golf.
I know. Can we start with sports?
No. You asked me where I wanted to start.
I know.
You could have started anywhere. You could have started whatever sports topic you want.
So before the show, I was like, hey, what do you want to talk about? We could talk about the Suns, where Kevin Durant's going to end up next year, how the Suns had a 2-0 lead in the finals, and now this feels like the most disappointing amalgamation of talent since the Nets, which was also a Kevin Durant product. But you want to talk about how uncool I am. Knock yourself out.
What happened last night, man?
Nothing happened last night.
Look, I hit up golf. I was like, what's up, man? It's like, hey, we're grabbing dinner, and then let's grab drinks. I'm like, cool. So like around 9:30, I'm like, hey, man, what's up? What's going on? We didn't hear from you guys. I get a text back at like 10:15. I think we're going to call it a night. I'm like, at 10:15, I'm asking for a drink.
Yeah.
Hey, drink, y'all can't do one round?
Well, they sell them whether I'm there or not, so you can go ahead and get you one. However, yes, I was done. So I think it's like, so Charlie and I went and worked out yesterday, and Charlie and we did a little different stuff because, like, we're in different situations. I feel like you're a major league night guy. I'm not anymore. I'm out of the major league night game. I'm a minor league night guy. My nights end early. So when I got to be honest with you, when I heard that Amin wanted to hang out with us, I got nervous. I was like, I'm not ready for that game. I ain't ready for that game.
You see, like, you act like I won't adjust. Like, if I'm playing basketball with little kids, I'm not out here throwing bows and, like, slapping boards and, like, shoving them out the way. I know how to play nice and, like, hey, here we go. Oh, you stole the ball from me. Ha ha. I know how to do that.
You just going to let me get some steals?
Yeah, man. Like, get your confidence up. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do another one. Like, I'll play that role. I know who I'm playing with, man. I know my personnel.
You could have missed one or two.
Oops.
Nah, I mean, to be completely honest with you, I was done, man. Like that, I felt like I had a good night until you said we didn't have a good night. Like me, I had took my guys out for a nice dinner at a fancy restaurant. We had drinks. We looked around. I mean, that's it. We laughed. We had a good time. We ate some expensive food. Then it's 10:30, and we like, hey, we did it. We had some laughs. We did it, guys. High five. Let's go to bed. Be well rested for work in the morning.
Perfect night.
Perfect,
Didn't
right?
need one more drink. We respect the 9 a.m. hour.
You guys.
What time do you guys wake up when you stay here to do the show? What time do you have to be up? Because
Well,
we all get up at like the ass crack of dawn because we have to commute in. But
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, my commute is just walk downstairs.
right, so
but
you're just rolling out of bed at like 8:30.
Nah, I wake up at like 6:30.
Same.
just because it's just. I
See,
mean,
I'm not going to a second location to drink if I'm getting up at 6:30.
yeah. I mean, it's not an intention. I beat the alarm up normally because I set the alarm for 7 because I want to be down here by 7:30.
That
so,
guy.
yeah.
I beat the alarm.
I don't beat the alarm at home. I beat the alarm when I'm on the road. When I'm on the road, it's easy to beat the alarm because I don't got to worry about nothing. I can go to the room and go to bed.
I famously don't use alarms. I've talked about this on the show.
You
You're
don't
only
say.
beating it when you're on the road.
Oh, yeah.
At home, terrible home record.
Only beat it on the road.
Never use an alarm.
Yeah, we've done this show before, right? Like the whole idea. Is
I've never heard it.
Me either. That's shocking.
like I feel the guilt wakes me up.
Yeah, which is why
The guilt
you
wakes
have
me
to.
up.
I've done it before where I have forgotten to put on an alarm, and then the guilt wakes. The problem is, I don't get good sleep. The guilt wakes me up an hour before, and
Yeah.
I'm like, do I grab my phone to set the alarm now? But that'll wake me all the way up.
Now you're
or do I
active.
go back to sleep? And then it's like, it's just nervous sleep. It's not good sleep.
The only time guilt gets me is when I have like an early flight. If I have to catch an early flight, I'm like worried
That's
about
not
missing
guilt.
it.
That's anxiety.
Well, that's when I will wake up before my alarm. Like a normal work
Do you
day.
feel guilty about making it to flights in the
Well,
morning?
no, he was just saying he was using the
Guilt,
phrase
the guilt of like,
alarm.
how dare you be asleep?
And
like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm up. And so to answer your question, 5:30 today, I was up. Like because like I'm like because I always wake up like, oh, it's 10:30, and no, it's 5:30, and I'm like, well, I'm up now.
It kind of sounds like you're using a typewriter even though the word processor was invented. You know that you can have, because it sounds like the sleep is not restful if you're concerned the whole time about if I'm up in time. So why don't you just set an alarm and sleep till the alarm goes off?
Well, first of all, I love that the peak of technology and advancement is the word processor for you.
It's
Put
not.
on
It
the
was the
poll,
be-
Juju. Do you know what a word processor is?
It was just the best analogy I could think of as a
Well said.
Yeah, a word processor. It was just the best analogy I could come up with. So I guess I don't understand the reason for not setting an alarm when we have.
Don't need it.
You're one of these guys.
The guilt wakes me up. Like you're like, oh, it's time to get up, start my day. I'm like, okay, the day has started. Like that's how I am. I wake up like that. Oh, it's like a shock.
So you're like how Deion Sanders said, like a lion don't need to stretch. You just like, I don't need no assistance. You want me to warm up? I was made for this. I hop up ready to work because of guilt.
I wish I didn't have to stretch, but yes, pretty much. Like I don't sleep a lot. I sleep like maybe like 4 to 5 hours a night.
Do you take pride in this though? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm being judgmental, because I'm sure there are some like weird, unnecessary things just as a man that I take pride in that's ridiculous. But this seems like a ridiculous thing where it's like I could set an alarm and sleep more comfortably and restfully and get up, but you just like to be able to walk around and say, "Hey, you know what I don't do? I don't use no alarms. That's the type of I am."
Well, first of all, we're on air. Second of all, you're
I
making the
muffled it.
assumption. You muffled.
You sound so well rested right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is the most. You've had great energy all week, but right now you just sound rested.
Yep.
Sounds like you made the right choice.
Amin don't need that.
I
Amin
don't.
sounds great too.
Yeah, because I'm not. You're making the assumption that I'm tired as a result, or it makes an impact on my day. But my energy level's fine. I don't drink coffee. I don't do any of these, like, I need my morning matcha, or I don't do any of that stuff.
So you keep doing these voices, which
I love
suggests to
them.
me that suggests
You're a
to me
nerd.
that
Yeah.
no, not even that I'm a nerd.
I drink matcha.
That you think that somehow this makes you like
Iron Man.
better or cooler or
Iron
something.
Man. Iron Man. Dude, think about it. Someone who doesn't get hangovers,
Okay.
who doesn't sleep a lot, who doesn't need coffee. I am the dream. Who has never caught COVID?
No, you're impressive. Like his
Oh,
ability
what?
to do the show
What?
after his ability to do the show after a red eye is wild. He
Oh,
does it
on the
almost every
reg.
week.
On the reg, bro. They should take, like,
he had
honestly.
COVID. He lives in Phoenix. That man got the bug. You never got it?
Never got it.
You got it.
Never got
You
it.
just ain't test.
No, I never, let me put it this way. Obviously, if you're asymptomatic, you don't know whether you got it
Yeah.
or not, but I never had symptoms.
Yeah, I was like you. I never had the symptoms, but I had to get tested for something. It was like, oh, damn. Got the bug.
I got tested a bunch of
I had
times.
a vacation in the basement too. It was marvelous.
I wasn't a regular testing. It wasn't like every week I got to go in for my COVID test. But the times I tested, I always tested negative.
So I guess the thing that I wanted to circle in on is like this is one of those like stupidly masculine things where you take pride in something that's irrelevant. And
is it irrelevant?
It's 100% irrelevant.
I don't know.
Like the idea that I don't.
Juju, put it on the poll. Would you like to never get hangovers, not need sleep, and not need coffee? Yes or no? If it's irrelevant, it'll come back 90% no, right? Maybe 80% no? If it's irrelevant. I feel like these are traits that are not irrelevant. I feel like these are traits.
You know what these are traits of?
What?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Well, you know what?
Dominique, I think you deserve some credit here because you're bringing out the best of Amin by not getting the drink with him last night.
Yeah. Yeah,
What,
take that.
The best of me? Well, you're getting the best of me? The
This
best
is-
of me.
You're at 100% this morning. You
I'm at
came
100%
in
every morning.
firing.
Nah. I think you are talented enough that you at 65, 70% are like, all right, we're cool. But I got you at 100 today. And this is a different Amin. This is a fired up Amin. He's a prepared Amin.
I got to overcome Jeremy. We started 10 deep in the hole, right? And I got to mount this comeback.
You don't want
already.
to talk about the hottest team in the Eastern Conference, your Miami Heat?
I'd rather talk about Shohei and the Dodgers 8-0 start
That ain't a
than
local topic.
talk about the
We in the local hour, bro.
It's the local hour.
It's the local hour. We do local things around here, like go out drinking with our boys. That's a local topic.
I did. It just ended at 10. I was out drinking
By the way,
till 10.
Don't get me started on this character, Jason Goff.
What about him?
What's he got to
He's
do?
not even here to defend himself.
Exactly. You actually had to be here. He got nothing going on.
You don't know what he got going
He's
on.
still in the church. The church is tithing to taking trips to Miami and going out to Carbone, wherever y'all went.
We went to Maple and Ash,
Maple and Ash, yeah.
and Goff is probably doing community service this morning. He wanted to
Yeah.
rest up to help the people. He's not even here to defend himself. I do think it's funny though that you believe that this junior high ass gonna make me feel embarrassed.
What junior high?
When you text us last night, he's like, y'all some nerds. You thought I was gonna be like, oh my gosh, Amin called me a nerd.
Okay,
I'm on my way.
Watch me. I will show you, Amin.
So first of all, that's exactly the voice I hear
I know.
when
You're
I think of
welcome.
you. Number two, it's resigned. Like I get it. Like the night's over, and so this is me lashing out.
Oh,
This
okay.
isn't like maybe I can change their mind by appealing to their junior high self.
Yeah, it was just like, I lost, so I'm going to go ahead and dunk on all of them. I mean, I don't know. I think if you're putting things on the poll, I don't need a poll for this. I don't need external
Coward.
validation.
Coward.
Oh, no, it's not a coward. Like, because I felt like what I was going to do was not fair. The truth is,
What's that?
it's if I lay out the situation, you're a 42-year-old father of 3 with a wife, and you got to work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Should you take your ass to bed at 10 o'clock? All respondents are yes. It's like that's who I am. That's who I am.
And all of
That's
them are
cool.
nerds.
Yeah.
I'm 46. That means I put you in your place. Now what you talking about? I got 3 kids and I got twins in there. That's double the work. That's not like the single. When they add them up, that's more.
I feel like they cancel each other out.
No, it's a multiplier effect. I'm telling you, brother.
I think they keep each other busy. Because the age.
Yeah, busy with like
With
problems.
nonsense,
Yeah,
tomfoolery.
with tomfoolery, with shenanigans, with chicanery.
All right, so this is the local hour. I feel like we got off to a good start. We're gonna go to the bench and bring in Jeremy to see if he can hit us with some heat topics. I want the on-off numbers to not be embarrassing, okay? So we are sending some of our starters to the bench. We're bringing Jeremy in to give us some heat stuff in the local hour. Don't blow the lead, Jeremy.
A win in Boston is always a good thing. They broke the Celtics' 9-game win streak, which was the longest in the Eastern Conference. Now the Heat have won 6 in a row, coming off losing 10 in a row, and they've won all of these by double digits. First team ever to be as bad as they were, lose 10 in a row, and then win 6 straight games by double digits. But it's the way that they're playing that is exciting. If you want to believe in a team getting to the first round and having at least a competitive series with the Cavaliers or the Celtics, which is not something you would have expected.
Is it the power of friendship?
I mean, look, I mentioned Pelle Larsson and the power of friendship in the preseason, and look who's entered the starting lineup and become one of their most important role players. That's Heat rookie second-round pick, Pelle Larsson.
Are Heat fans bothered by the fact that we had this argument yesterday that I won against Amin about tanking in the NBA? Are the Heat fans at all concerned about their moving out of an opportunity to get a franchise-changing player in Cooper Flagg?
I think an overwhelming amount of the fan base is still in that space of wishing they would just lose as much as possible and get a top draft prospect because they're sick of what they've sort of conceived as running it back over and over again, even though there's only 3 players left on the roster that were here more than a couple of years ago. There's 2 rookies in the starting lineup, and I think you could want to add to a young core, which is totally understandable. The Heat, you guys mentioned protections on draft picks yesterday as a problem. The Heat are actually in an interesting space where if they get their draft pick this year, their picks for next year and 2028 become unprotected. If they make the playoffs, those picks remain protected if things go poorly. So you can look at that as a silver lining if you're one of the fans that wanted to tank and now you make the postseason. But the inspiring part, if you're a Heat fan, is Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero are both playing some of the best basketball on the offensive end of their careers. And Hero finally overcame the adjustment from other teams and is playing like the all-star level of player that he was in the first half of the season. So it's good things to be able to take away, whether this leads to anything or not. But am I starting to feel a little delusional? Yeah, I am.
It's the spin. The washing machine's going.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, the spin. I didn't know. I heard.
Sounded like something dripping. I was like, "Is it raining in here?"
There's a couple of things in there that I thought was interesting. It's interesting that there are these competing interests that, while I thought that it's only one drive is to not be good, that in this situation, the Heat have the drive to protect their picks going forward, which could be a potential future solution too, where it's like you can't have so many losing seasons in a row or you lose your draft pick.
Right.
But the other thing that pops out to me is there's some things that are simple about sports and entertainment of any variety is that that your incentives should be very clear to you. The idea that there are situations where fans want their team to lose, that sucks, man. Like, I never want to be in that situation. And that, like, you have to admit, at least, like, if you don't want to agree with me about tanking or about how that impacts the quality of the product or the TV product or even the in-game experience, you have to admit that it sucks when you are wanting your own team to lose.
So what sucks is it's widespread, right? Once upon a time, people watched their team play, and they won and they lost, and they were happy, they were sad, or whatever. And then, like, there was, like, a small group of people like me who was like, no, I'm interested in how all this works. Like, and you know, the numbers and the money and da-da-da, and, like, and so that's my origin story. I got a copy of the CBA, and I was like, I'm going to read this and understand why these trades can and can't work, right?
I feel like you should do your voice over again, because somebody who picks up a CBA and wants to...
I'm interested in,
there we
what
go.
are the cap mechanics on how these trades get consummated?
And so I learned, and then I got a career in this, and then I got out of the career doing this, and I started doing media, and I'm doing media from, like, my perspective of, like, this is the stuff that we're thinking about when we're running teams. And, like, at first it was, like, a niche thing for a lot of the nerds out there. Right. But now it's turned into, like, everybody, like, you talk about anything. They're like, well, actually, the cap round. I'm like, guys, like, it's okay to be happy about getting a player and excited for the season. Oh, I hate this. Now they're not going to, we're not going to find out whether so-and-so is going to be a thing. And, now we're going to have, like, the 8th pick instead of 3rd. I'm like, guys, it's okay to be happy for your team to do well, as opposed to everything being a big picture conversation. I realize I'm part of the problem, though, because I taught these people how to have a big picture conversation.
I feel the same way. Like, I understand, I call it like the GMification of sports fans. Like, I understand fans being, like, interested in that, and like, I'm kind of speaking for myself too. Like, obviously I'm interested in all of the big picture ramifications. But
I'm interested in the big picture ramifications.
Am I doing a voice of
super
myself?
interested.
There it is. God, man. Chris, you might be the MVP.
I want to know what kind of draft pick we're going to get if we
it is.
lose, but
I also want to be a fan, and I want to see my team win.
Yeah,
and then
if you're a fan, you're like
also,
this.
Yeah.
It's like so into the nitty gritty sometimes, where I'm like, oh, now we're talking about like comp picks and like all. I'm like, this is it's too much. I'm not the GM. I don't need to know the dollars and cents, decimal points of how much cap space is left.
Yeah. It's true. Aprons.
It's why I'm crushed to see some fans on Twitter or Blue Sky upset about the fact that the Heat have won 6 in a row here.
What are they doing?
It's like, what are they doing? Why aren't they losing on purpose? Just lose the play-in game. And it's like, there's not only is there pride, but there's an entertainment value. You're not excited to go into Boston and punk the Celtics to where they're pulling their starters with 6 minutes left? That's an awesome feeling that you can get in the regular season. Like, that's right there for you, even in a season that's been disappointing.
Also,
Nah,
like,
LeBron's on the team. There aren't Heat fans watching.
there's Jeremy and his
I'm
friends,
on
I
the
guess.
broadcast. That's devastating. It's as mean of a thing as you could have said to me.
Truth hurts.
There's also, by the way, we should point out, no Porzingis, no Drew Holiday, and also no fuck to your elbow.
No Andrew Wiggins, no Duncan Robinson.
Oh, wow, yeah. Equal.
There's contract incentives too, right? Like Spo probably gets paid like $50,000 to make the play. I don't know how much it is, but like players make money to be on an all-star team. I made a Chris. I don't know how much he gets paid. I feel like if I said $500,000, that's way too high. But $50,000 is probably too low. It's somewhere in the middle. I'm just ballparking here.
$50,000 ain't getting Spo out of the bed. He oversleeping that alarm that Amin
How much
doesn't
do you
have.
think his playoff incentive bonus structure is?
I don't know, but I know 50
Exactly.
grand.
You don't know. I
yeah.
just threw out a number.
Got your
Okay.
ass. You're done. No.
Pineapple butter.
Thank you, Chris.
I wasn't trying to make fun of you. I just was pointing out that 50 grand ain't it. It ain't gonna motivate him. This to get back a little bit to the tanking of it all. I think that the NBA is in a situation where they have a league that is doing incredibly well right now financially, and it's only kind of a result of the product that they're putting on the floor. And I think they have this unique opportunity to address these problems while the TV money is skyrocketing. And we all acknowledge that the TV money is not skyrocketing because the product is so much better than it was before. It's skyrocketing because the ecosystem has prioritized, because, TiVo existed, and then everything's on demand, everything's a streamer. And sports, as we all know, sports is hugely valuable, and I think that it's possible that the league and its players believe that they're in better position than they actually are.
Yeah.
And I think you have an opportunity, and rather than accepting that right now oil prices are high, so you're raking in the cash, you need to acknowledge that, like, hey, we're headed in a bad direction. Let's address these issues and get ready for being out there in a world where possibly sports won't be overvalued.
I've talked about this a lot about I don't think we're headed in the right direction for several reasons. Tanking isn't one of them, though, but like of the way our game is perceived and the way we let our game be perceived by people, propagated by the ones that we entrust to sell our game, right? The biggest, noisiest, most incorrect, oftentimes, people are the ones who seem to be working for broadcast partners of the league. And I'm like, the NFL doesn't allow this. They don't let, like, what happened with LeBron and Stephen A. just go out of control and do what it does. There's a conversation that happens at a high level there where it's like, hey, man, we're doing a thing here. We protect the shield above all. And so, but to that point, I often get into this mental kind of exercise of, I know it's wrong. I know it's bad for the game. I know this isn't ultimately in best service of the game. But if the economics of live programming trumps everything else and the numbers keep going up as a result, how can I, where do I have a leg to stand to make an argument that people are going to hear and understand?
I think this is the problem in just about every business is that the problem starts small. The issue is something small, and you don't address it until it metastasizes into something that'll hurt you because you have some level of protection. That's what leadership is, being able to make this decision now or being able to address this now. And I think part of the problem when you talk about your game is the unwillingness to accept it. You, and it's not just you, but people in basketball seem to be so defensive of the game and want to protect the game and not acknowledge the fact that there are issues and the issues need to be addressed. So when I bring up tanking, maybe the way that I characterize it isn't perfect, but rather than you acknowledge, there is some things wrong with it, you say your response, and people like your response is, no, everyone's wrong. You just don't understand it, which is not true. It's just a perception thing.
But
no, it's not true.
That's my point. First of all, it's perfection.
Perfection?
Perfection. You'll listen to it later. You'll
Oh,
figure
I
it
didn't
out.
hear you.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. You misspoke. Sorry.
No, that was you.
No, not
He
me,
must have-
sir.
You said perfect, and he brought it back.
Oh, okay,
Call
got
back
you.
to it.
Typically, that's what I'm doing. If you're like, why is he pronouncing like that? It's like, yeah, it's because you did it, right? It's not about perfection, right? It's not about it being 100% accurate in every case. Of course, there are times where it's like, yeah, they're tanking. That's not cool, right? But what I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of the problems that face our league, this is a small one.
Okay.
This is a very small one that does not deserve the attention that we give it, because ultimately, what are we talking about? Or do we really give a that Charlotte versus Washington was a lightly watched game? And by the way, if they played all their guys, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You know why? Because they're bad either way. And so the reality is, the real things that we have an issue with are people who are, again, I say it, the people entrusted to sell our game are doing the opposite. Whether it's they shoot too many threes, whether it's our generation is so much better than your generation, whether it's like, hey, he's a dumbass who's talking about my son, and like, hey, man, your son's garbage. Like, all of that stuff, that's the stuff that does not help our sport. I think it's really telling that the biggest thing in football is a football game. And the biggest thing in basketball is like, who got traded? Who signed where? When is who? Oh, we found out who got drafted 6 minutes before the pick was announced. Why is that so important? Why do we give a about we would have discovered anyway?
Well, a huge part of it is exactly what you're talking about. When you are disincentivizing the games being important, the games become less important. I mean, this is the organizations right now. This is the problem that the NBA has to face, is that if teams can't sell success, they're selling hope, which is incentivizing for fans to want the worst draft pick, to want tanking. And Silver's in a really interesting position. They have the $76.5 billion TV deal. He has to find solutions that don't feel like gimmicks. Period, full stop. It's the thing that Goodell has done the best of, which is being a steward of the game as a product without making it feel ultra gimmicky. And it's not an easy solution. If we all came up with it, they would just put it in.
Bam Adebayo's shooting 41% from three over his last 30 games. Guys, care about the product on the court. It's cool to see guys who had slow starts to the season, even in a season that could have been a season where they gave up, actually try to get better and improve and try to win games down the stretch, even when their team lost 10 in a row. That's a good thing for the sport. Bam Adebayo, good thing for the sport.
We are sending mixed signals, because on the one hand, we're like, we should be talking about the product. And then he talks the product, like, shut up, Jeremy. So I don't know what I want.
Well, that's just because it's Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's I mean,
Chris, tell us about the Heat game last night. I want to hear your take on it.
It was so good.
Yeah,
Nice
that's brilliant insight.
I mean,
I got a question. Do you
ahead.
think there was a shiver sent down Dan's spine when Amin mentioned Stephen A. Smith in this studio on this show with these co-hosts talking about that topic with that guy?
In that league.
It's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast where Dan is.
He's been up since
He's
3.
been texting for 2 hours.
I think he went back to bed and he was in a deep slumber, probably the best slumber he's had the entire trip.
Some HT.
Valerie's next to him. Everyone's feeling great. And then I said those words, and he just shot up in the middle of the bed. And Valerie's like, "What's wrong, honey?" He's like, "They're talking about Stephen A. Smith and LeBron coming to steal all the economies."
Like the Rain Wade in that Gatorade commercial. It's cold sweat.
Yeah.
At some point, Charlie, I don't know if I'm putting you out there on something you don't want out there or not, but you'll forgive me. But Charlie has a game that he plays when when listening to the Dan Le Batard Show. It's called Dango, and I think that he has to. At some point, you got to let everybody in on Dango.
So I'll be making boards.
Ooh.
You guys can keep them.
Oh, so it's
pass
like-
them out tomorrow.
like bingo?
And you can keep them. And
With
once it'll be our little impact on the show for the next couple weeks.
Nice.
There'll be all of the Danisms, the Dan sayings, the Slam Dan.
We've been
And-
playing that for years back here.
But
for
you'll-
years back here.
At some point
Well
over the
said.
next couple weeks, you'll get a Dango. It could be
like that.
economies. It could be but Stugotz. Well, I don't know if that
Infrastructure.
won't be happening. And once you get a Dango, yell it out. Explain what it was.
That's gangster. That was one of my favorite
That's some
ones.
gangster.
That one doesn't come as often as it used to.
Yeah,
There was a
it
time
used to
when
be.
everything was gangster. Anytime Dominique is on, because it's always Dominique thought like these guys are titans of industry, and then he walks in and he realizes these guys are just morons, and that's the gangster. And like, okay,
They are morons. I just think they average.
Can I ask one question? What's HT?
That is
Halftime.
inside. Dan often after a segment, will just lay on the floor, which we for years have been like, maybe he's sleepy. I don't know. And then did we have his trainer on? We learned.
No, he said the name of the person who like is doing the whole diet thing, and I went on their website, and there's like a whole section called horizontal time. And it's trademarked.
So we just deduced. I don't think we've actually talked to Dan about
no,
this.
we're revealing this on air for the first time.
But we just know now that when he's doing that, that's him being like, I need some HT. I need some horizontal time. I don't think he calls it HT. I call it HT.
I would think of horizontal time as something completely different.
Yeah. If somebody told me you try to have a little HT, little horizontal time, I'd say, I'm married, right? Is that the right voice?
Well, I would think that it would be your wife. That was something your wife would say with the kids around. Don't want to be too crude, but like, hey guys, like, Dominique, can we get some HT tonight? And
no, it's apparently like a digestion thing.
Yeah, well,
the kids know. I mean, we ain't hiding it. They know how they got here. Like, hey, yeah.
Are you like? Is it with the house? How's the house layout? Master bedroom versus children's bedrooms.
Oh, so it's It's on one side. My bedroom is on one side. There's a hallway.
Got it.
All the kids on the other side.
So long hallway. Though.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the hallway.
Is there a red?
I mean, it's not that long, but it gets the job done.
Get a red light bulb on, like you put on in the hallway. That light's on. You know.
TLC over here.
Don't come. I'm just saying, don't come wandering around. Actually, it was from a Seagal movie.
Right.
The light in the hallway was red. I'm like, why? It's like, oh.
Phobe.
Well, hey, we're not going to do that here.
I would like to find out, though, what you would do, because, and maybe I'm beating this dead horse, but if you are saying that the problem is the way that the game is presented, how do you address that as an issue other than make changes to the game? If it's about not the way the game's being presented, the way the game is being discussed, and how do you disentangle the fact that what I believe the reason why these transactions are so much more important in your game, as you call it, than my game in football. Like football, there are only 17 games. Maybe they're going to 18 games. The games matter so damn much.
Sure.
And that's why we care about the games. I think that the games in basketball have been devalued by the league and its players because there's so many games. There's the load management thing. There's the tanking thing, that all these off-season things become, or these transaction things become greatly important. Right?
But I think, I mean, it's not like we added games. It's not like we, like, all of a sudden people are like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to be bad for Tim Duncan or bad for LeBron James or bad for, like, this has all existed.
Right.
Like, so what's happening isn't the game has changed. And it's what's happening is the way we talk about the game. And that circles back again, like, what's my responsibility in all of this, in me being someone who worked at ESPN, supposedly supposed to be someone selling the game, and I'm talking about, yeah, that's a bad move by the front office. They should have done. Chicago should have traded Pau Gasol and traded all these guys and gotten picks because their season's going nowhere. And I know from an analysis standpoint, I was right, especially when I look at what happened to the Bulls afterwards. But the reality is, man, like, if I converted however many minds into thinking like that, I've actively hurt the game. Some things aren't meant to be told, I guess.
Right. And I think that the issue I would say exists is the environment around. So you're right. A lot of these things are not new, but the environment around it has changed. And like with the 24-hour sports networks and now with all the YouTube, there's so much to fill. If the games are not as consequential as we want them to be, like if one basketball game is only equivalent to a fraction of a football game, obviously we're not going to spend a whole day talking about a fraction of a football game. But we have to fill that space with some sort of conversation. And if we go back to the 90s, only so many teams were interesting, and that's all you needed because there's only so many networks, only so much to talk about. Now we got to fill up all these networks, all these fan bases, all these YouTube podcasts and all that. That's for every little market. And the game has not evolved in a way that allows 82 games for 30 teams to matter. And so rather than do that, you know what? It's on my list of topics today. Where might Kevin Durant go next year? Because, like, that's interesting to me because you know what's not interesting right now? The Suns. I don't care about the 11th place Suns.
You know what is interesting, and speaking of transactions, since joining the Miami Heat in 24 games, Davion Mitchell is shooting 47% from three.
Yeah. And I think this also, to speak to the media stuff of it, is like the ringification of it all, is like I'm guilty of this also. I have a hard time appreciating a team that's just good. or a team that's just I like to watch. Like when you tell me about the Heat doing this, like they got no damn chance.
This is a great blind spot that I'm glad you realize, because this is like the Donovan Mitchell conversation we talked about, which is like the very good players, the all NBA players, it's either are you good enough to be a 1A on a championship team or you're not interested.
You got to explain this. Like you're doing callbacks to our show that no one knows.
Our show, we've argued about whether or not Donovan Mitchell's good for now like 3 years.
Nah,
it's because when the Knicks didn't trade for Donovan Mitchell, there was the ESPN news cycle being like, New York dodged a bullet. They have more space now. They didn't want to give all their picks, and it's like now it's like a 65-win team, and he's done this on multiple organizations. Yeah. But because there's a perception that he can't be the one on a championship team, he's not interesting to a lot of fans.
As a casual basketball fan, I still think the Celtics are better. Yeah. I look at the Cavs and I'm just like, Celtics.
Right, but even if the Celtics are better, I think that Charlie's calling me out in this point and saying, but the Cavs are good and fun to watch. And every time the Cavs come up in our conversations, me and Charlie, I'm like, yeah. Exactly. I hit him with that 1920s mobster sound that you just hit.
The line can't just be, are you as good as LeBron or Curry
and that's my
or Giannis?
Well, so let me ask you this question. Why do you think in football you guys don't have this phenomenon, which is, man, if Joe Montana played today, he would have had 17 million touchdowns and 800 receiving yards or whatever, or vice versa. Man, if Patrick Mahomes played back in the 70s, man, he would have had like 17 million yards or whatever. Why don't y'all ever have those stupid-ass conversations that seem to have our sport by a chokehold?
Because CTE ensures that they don't even remember that they played.
That's a good point.
I feel like football has plenty of stupid debates.
Yeah, we do have plenty of debates. I was just joking.
What is the stupid debate that y'all have?
I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
No, but because
Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson,
but
which has been going on for years.
But he's talking about the cross generational
debate.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Dango. Across generations. But no, but that's my point. It's like you can have a Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. You know how you settle it? When Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson play against each other.
That's how they
settle it by fucking.
When.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Oh, yeah. You can catch Pitch Clock later with Jeremy if you want to. But right now, we got my man, MVP of the last time I did a week stint down here, David Samson. What's up, David? How are you, buddy?
I am bursting at the seams right now. I'm drinking tea because I can't swallow exactly, but I'm watching the stock market plunge.
Whoa.
I'm watching tariffs increase. I'm watching companies panic. I'm watching Mike Schur as the baseball expert of Meadowlark. Are you guys kidding me, Jeremy? Seriously.
I do have a question, though. So today we start the show with you talking about how I guess your throat hurts or something. Oh. Yesterday you start the show. Do you remember what you said in introducing yourself yesterday? You said something about your bottom being clean?
My bottom is fresh.
What does that mean? You took a shower?
Today's bursting at the seams.
So at the end of, I'll tell you, Dominique, I have no secrets from you. I do nothing personal live from 8 to 8:50 a.m. And during the course of the show, I build up sweat because I'm sitting and talking. So what I do in between shows is I freshen up.
All right, David. So the Dodgers are off to an 8-0 start, and Shohei hit a walk-off last night. What about the Dodgers? Yeah, you are so strange. What about the Dodgers has got you fired up right now, buddy?
I'm fired up that their fans are so ridiculous that they waited online for a bobblehead that was being given away to all fans in attendance. What happened there? Why do you have to wait in line?
Why do you hate fans? That's awesome. Like,
fans.
They're excited. They're excited.
What? But do they have that much time on their hands that they're happy to stand in line? Listen, if you're the Marlins and you only give away 5,000 bobbleheads, because that's the most sponsorship you can get, and you're going to have a turnstile of 10,000, that means 5,000 people aren't going to get it. And here's a funny little side note. We don't actually give away all 5,000. Right. We keep a pallet for ourselves and our employees and the player, and to give away if there's customer complaints, but nobody ever counts that. But if you give to every fan, why wait online?
So you're mad that fans are actually coming to the stadium on time. This is a shock to
He
you.
just can't fathom it.
It's amazing.
They're not on time. They were early.
Okay.
And they were doing it because the Dodgers previously, there were not enough Otani bobbleheads for everyone. And the Japanese sponsors said, we don't want unhappy customers. We want to pay for bobbleheads for everyone. Don't you think it should have been communicated that you don't need to wait online?
I think that you like sometimes something happens and then people have a genuine reaction to the thing that's happening. That reaction could be positive or negative. I believe that you wake up in search of things to be mad about. They are so good. There's a baseball team that is so good that has a player who's so popular that the fans show up early and wait in line. And somehow I give you an opportunity to talk about how awesome this team is, how they're 8-0 and they could possibly surpass 13-0 for the first time since, I guess, 2023, which would be incredible.
What does that matter?
No, it's a. What do you mean? What does it matter?
No, if you're going to talk Dodgers 8-0, you should be saying to yourself, can they catch Seattle? That's really the intrigue. And the fact is they only have a half-game lead on the Padres, or that the NL West has only lost 3 games outside of the Rockies who don't count. What a tough division. What an exciting division. But how despondent would you be to be 8-0 and only have a half-game lead? It really is something. But can a team catch 116 wins when their over-under on DraftKings was 103.5? Is there a way to check what the current over-under is on DraftKings?
Yeah, it's called
Does the
going to the
win
DraftKings
total
Sportsbook.
change? Obviously, when you're 8-0, I assume the win total for the season changes. I wonder if it's reached 116 yet.
But don't you think it's exciting and interesting to have some sort of chase, something to be excited about? You just said that this team should be despondent. This is a case in point. They're 8-0, and you said, how despondent would you be? You're the only person on earth, David, who would somehow wake up having never lost a game with your giant star pitcher / slugger hit a walk-off home run, first pitch, walked out there. That was some cold shit. And you somehow are like, they should be despondent. I don't get you, David, man. You just want to be angry. Be happy.
I mean, I'm not happy with what's going on, but I'm so happy that we can be distracted by doing the show and not watching what's happening in the markets right now and the reality of what the tariffs mean to the sports world. It's a big story. And obviously we talk about companies and cars and manufacturers. These tariffs that were imposed actually impact sports and sports teams in ways as well, like bobbleheads. Bobbleheads just got more expensive, I promise you that, because they're not made in the US of A.
What?
So, oh, no, they are not. They get on big ships, and they come across the water, and then you have to get them through customs, and then they're in big pallets that get delivered, 50,000 of them to Dodger Stadium. The size of those pallets, people, it's incredible when they get delivered and how you have to store them before you give them away. And then the forklifts you need to bring them to the different gates. It's a whole thing that happens.
He's legitimately excited about this part of it. Not about the Dodgers start, but just about like the process of the pallets making their way from Long Beach up the Chavez Ravine.
You are like a bomb-sniffing dog for uninteresting. Like, I lay out the most interesting possible topic, and you just... Let me find the part that can bore them. Let's talk about tariffs and pallets of bobbleheads.
Let me re-angle. This is a team that should be despondent, right? Which is the Athletics of God knows what city. That they're playing in Sacramento.
You're not allowed to say.
They're not allowed to say what city. It's just the Athletics, right?
It's just the Athletics.
So the Athletics, who are playing in Sacramento but are not the Sacramento Athletics, playing in a minor league stadium that seats 14,000. They couldn't even sell that out for opening day.
Well, that includes 3,000 like standing room down the line. So they did sell out all the actual seats, but because it's a AAA stadium, there's a bunch of places you can go to engage with the game, but not actually have a seat, which doesn't work well when it's 100 degrees outside in the middle of summer. But I think what the Aths are really despondent about is the fact that will they be in Sacramento 3 years or 4 years? What's going on in Vegas? Can they get that ballpark built on time? Budgets now are a nightmare. Think about this with building new stadiums at the moment or even refurbishing ones. all the increased expense of metals and materials, that flows down to a budget for these new stadiums and arenas, and it's going to have quite an impact on pricing. And the public doesn't pay the overruns, the owners do, which is why owners are saying, oh, I'm not so sure I want to build this ballpark without more public money.
But then you're stuck in this weird situation. And I have to imagine that the footprint of that facility, David, does not generate money in a way that a major league stadium does, even an outdated major league stadium like the one that they left in Oakland.
Are you talking about in Sacramento, or
Yes,
are you talking about
Sacramento.
in Vegas?
I'm talking about Sacramento.
So both. That's the interesting part. Right now, teams are looking to build villages like St. Louis did, like Atlanta did, like we wanted to in Miami, and it didn't work. You want to get that ancillary revenue.
Yeah.
But don't forget, the deal with Vegas is only for 9 acres, which, by the way, isn't even big enough to have a ballpark.
That's right, because
would
it's
be-
right there, the corner of Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard.
Tropicana. It's right down there.
Yeah.
There's no room.
Yeah, it's
and
small.
so all of the ancillary development goes to the going bankrupt Bally's company, not to John Fisher and the Afts. So the whole deal is problematic in that regard. And for Sacramento, how do you make an investment when you're in a temporary city? Are you going to build a village around a AAA park? And then when the village is open and ready for business, you're already gone from Sacramento? That doesn't make sense. So you're just going to end up with nothing.
Okay, I just realized that I, too, am a bomb-sniffing dog for uninteresting topics. I saw everyone check out on this conversation. That me and David are excited to talk about this.
I'm like, geez, let's talk about the tariffs again.
What the hell's the aths?
I'll remove myself.
All right.
I mean, I know what he's talking about, but who says that? Aths.
David,
That's what you have to call them, Chris. If you
don't
look at
actually.
box scores, well, that's what MLB sends out a book every year of how teams are referred to, nicknames, a pronunciation guide. And this year, we were all told that it's the Aths. And if you look at box scores, it'll say ATH instead of A's or OAK or
Well, if-
SAC.
Well, if you want to see the Aths play, or the Marlins, or any baseball team, go to Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right, David.
Game time.
Thank you, David.
You're
There's
welcome, Chris.
a couple other topics that I'm going to throw out to you. I'll give you a choice, and we're going to do our best to find the interesting in both of these topics. So Ja Morant's gun gesture, and the league is currently investigating that, or we could talk about the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund, their involvement, or their deeper and deeper involvement in global sports, and how we at one point were all up in arms and we're crazy about Live Golf, and now you look up and they have 340 plus global sponsorships. They're going to be hosting the World Cup in 2034, and it seems like they're going to start entering more and more. They've been in soccer teams in Europe, and they're going to start entering the NFL through private equity funds and other sports in America. So those are your choices. Let's find the interesting, David.
You can't call it sports laundering anymore, can you? It's just sort of normal. Saudi Arabia won. They tried to make it so that the conversation was not about the way they treat people and the human misogyny and death and murder. So instead, they just keep investing money, and then it becomes normal. And they knew it, and we fell right into it. And the Live Golf is such a great example. When Live Golf started, Greg Norman was the CEO. It was going to be this behemoth. They signed all these players, gave them all this guaranteed money. And now Brooks Koepka comes out and says, man, I thought we'd be further along. I thought this would be better. And then the new CEO comes out and says, I don't know what anyone's talking about. We're doing great. We don't need the PGA because we've got Saudi money and we've got the world. We don't have the U.S., but the U.S., that's like FIFA saying, man, I wish the U.S. were better. They don't really need it.
But no one's watching it, though. Like, it feels like just because they have the Saudi-backed money, it has not necessarily been a success. And it's an odd situation where it also at one point doesn't feel like it's a success, but also the people who stood up against it don't feel like they are benefiting. It's weird in that like Rory McIlroy doesn't feel like the champion that we thought he was going to be when he decided not to do it, and the golfers who went along with them seem to be surviving just fine. There's no backlash from it. It's weird to think that if you think of it in three different parties, as the group that wanted them out and players, the group that wanted to be with them and live themselves, feels like the only team the only group that's actually succeeding is the guys who we kind of characterize as selling out a bit and like helping the sports washing, right?
I think it's even beyond that. Bryson DeChambeau, you could argue, is now the most popular golfer in the world. Period. And there's rumors that he would even leave LIV and go back because he's basically made a pot from it. His public perception, he had zero social cost. He had a social benefit from reinventing himself on YouTube and not being on the PGA Tour every week.
And I think you have to realize, Dominique, that was a pretty nationalistic point of view, because LIV would tell you there's a lot of people watching LIV. They're just not in the U.S., but they have major broadcast deals around the world. Yeah, it's bad time in the U.S. when you're in Australia or when you're in Singapore, but not when you're in Australia and Singapore. So I think that when they look at their media revenue, their non-U.S. revenue, it's damn good.
Yeah, well, I'm giving an American point of view because
yes,
last time I checked, I mean, I don't know, this might change. I'm American. I'm in America. This is what I care about. We are bringing in Jason Goff to support me now because we had to kick Amin out because he was siding with David on these boring topics. But
I want to explore David's damp bottom some more. I probably shouldn't have said that sentence as the beginning, the introduction to today's.
Internet lives forever.
Exactly.
Clip it. So, David, I do have a question about how you or the league would handle this Ja Morant gun gesture thing. It's like, I understand how important it all is, or how important the way that the league presents itself is, but it does feel odd. I don't know if odd is the right word, that we're calling this an investigation. Like, what are we doing? It's either get a man a fine or move on. Like, I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, I want to be careful here, and I want to get this right. Is that so? And this is, I'm happy to admit what I am, which is middle-aged and white. Is what he did an expression that is commonly associated with guns, or is it a celebratory thing that you do when you score or do something right that's actually not sort of a gun salute type thing? I don't know the answer, and I assume that's what the investigation is. And are other players doing it too?
Well, we're old, David.
Yeah,
and
all three of us.
And Dominique. So what we see now more so is when people are taking pictures, young people especially, some of them like to make the handgun gesture and, let you know that, I keep it loaded, even though no one is shooting anyone with handgun gestures. I don't, the problem I have with it is, who has Ja Morant seen this work for? Right? Like after a while, you gotta study the behavior and think, oh, I've seen this work for Jordan. I've seen this work for LeBron. And even if you don't want to be those people, look at Isaiah Ryder's career. Like, look at certain careers where you're like, maybe I want to stay away from this. And if his goal is to make as little money off the court as possible, then knock yourself out, player. But I don't get it. I got an 8-year-old son. I try to teach him certain things. I'm sure Ja Morant's dad has tried to teach him certain things. But once a guy gets this position and has been emboldened by as much money and also the talent that he carries and the impact that he has on that city, you just got to hope he grows out of certain things. But the gun gesture thing, probably never. I mean, I remember when Chris Webber was doing a throat slash and people were upset with that. So I don't know how this is ever going to work out in his favor, except for the people who are telling him it looks cool on the outside.
The funny thing is, like, I'm hesitant. Obviously, there's plenty of people to talk about how ridiculous it is. Does clearly seem like it's like assault rifle gun gesture. Like, I don't think, I understand. I appreciate, David, you acknowledging that you may not be sure, but it feels like it falls specifically in that category. But I also think about Ja Morant, and I think Zion falls in this category also, and Anthony Edwards falls in this category. I complain often about the early professionalization of youth sports and how we get kind of all these athletes who are trained to be boring,
robots,
and uninteresting, and they play that way and they act that way. And Ja Morant's not one of those guys. And so, like, I appreciate that Ja Morant skyrocketed in his popularity because of the way they played, and not because of the gun stuff, but because he was interesting. And I like that. But sometimes what comes along with that is he hasn't been polished. He's a rougher rock that hasn't been through this AAU, this Nike circuit that 12-year-old talented basketball players have gone through, which is how you end up with a player like Jason Tatum, who plays incredibly well and says nothing that I care about.
Yeah, but there's people who have come from rough backgrounds who get out of that and then realize, you know what? Not only do I not want to go back, I don't want to even, like, for instance, Isaiah Thomas. You know where Isaiah Thomas is from?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Isaiah Thomas.
The original.
For whatever, the original Isaiah Thomas. For whatever reason, you make it to Detroit, you make it to the University of Indiana, and you say, you know what? This is what I'm going to focus on. Basketball is key. And then you run into the bad boy image and all this other stuff. But at some point, you know, like with LaMelo Ball, like Ja Morant, like Zion Williamson, extremely gifted, talented dudes, but at what point do you say to yourself, this is hindering the progress of whatever I'm trying to accomplish? Because, you know, in the end, you can't have it as a league. There's certain things you just can't have. And on top of it, especially in this league, where the little hint of violence might sway certain people who have marketing dollars.
So who's in Ja's ear, would you say? Is it his agent, his parents, his sponsors, his friends, his family? And the question is, are they in his ear from a business standpoint saying, hey, be you, be unapologetically you. It's not going to cost you $1. Or are they saying, listen here, you have an opportunity to really have a problem, because he already lost out on the full max deal that he could get because of the issues he had. So is someone actually helping him? That's what the agent is supposed to be for.
I'm not sure that anyone's in his ear at this point. Like, it feels like the people believe that he ran the coach out. Like, he has all the power that he needs in an organization right now. And I think that to push back on something that you said a little bit ago, I don't even necessarily think that it has to do with where the player came from as much as these things are kind of pop culture things that are gestures. Like, you'll see guys hit a three and shoot the three guns where it doesn't matter where they come from. I think that's the question, and how close the NBA wants to be aligned to those things. Obviously, they don't. Whether they want to be
well, they don't want the players to be aligned with it, but obviously where people that invest in the NBA put their money seems to not really matter what they support.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess I don't know. The thing that jumped out to me about this is that they're doing an investigation. I don't think you need an investigation.
No.
What's the fine for doing gun gestures? Get that man the fine. Like, unless you plan on suspending him because of his history, this feels odd to me.
I think this was also something that came up at the NFL meetings this week in regards to, like, gun gesture celebrations and things like that. Like, it's something that got flagged a lot last year in college football and in the NFL, and something that, like, all of the leagues seem that they're trying to crack down on right now. So it's not just happening with
when 75%
Ja
of the participants are playing Call of Duty, especially on a day like today when Verdansk has dropped back in our lives. I mean, you know, there's a relationship that is weird there, where, you know, you remember when Kobe was a part of the Call of Duty commercials back in the day? Like, there's this, hey, this is the culture, this is what we breed in this country in terms of loving guns and making sure that your rights aren't being infringed upon. Just don't do it where little white kids sitting courtside might be influenced by it. You know what I mean?
I can't wait to the game tonight because Ja's in town. We should get tickets. Go see Ja. Go see Ja and play the Heat, right?
Yeah, with Kyle Anderson, who's plus 47 over his last 4 games.
There we go.
Dominique, go on Game Time.
Can you say that again for me?
Go on Game Time. You can get tickets right now.
Ooh, that's Urban Samson right there. I like it. I like it.
Oh, my gosh. All right, David, before I let you go, is there anything you want us to know before you go? You want to throw out a plug for your show? Tell us how clean or dirty your bottom is, whatever the things are that you like to say.
Well, I've got a good schwitz going because I'm drinking tea right now, so it will require a post-show cleanse. But I will say that I appreciate you helping and having me and paying attention to nothing personal. But I leave you with this.
Okay, leave it.
The Dodgers are 8-0. The Braves are 0-7. the likelihood that either one of them will win or lose 116 games continues to be low, likely never to happen. Therefore, when you're feeling so good about something and conversely you're feeling so bad about something, just know that feeling is what gives you the frame of reference when things get better.
Words to live on. I love it.
See you, David.
Way to
Thank
go,
you, buddy.
David.
See ya.
I'm not. Hey, I needed that this morning.
Did you?
100%.
I did.
I needed it.
I didn't quite get it. Like, what I was trying to do was like, let's get excited. And David was like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Don't be happy.
Time
Don't be happy. It's dark out there. Like, what I need, like, if I were,
from a passage from David's Red Book.
I was saying, like, look, I'm not a big baseball guy, but Shohei got my attention.
Of course.
The Dodgers may be chasing 116. That'll get my attention. I care about it. The guy who we bring on this show who's supposed to be the big baseball guy is like, you know what? That's never going to happen. They're not going to win 116 games. And they lined up for the Shohei bobbleheads. What trash is it? That's not what I was looking
He's
for.
a realist. You want pie in the sky. You want all things, seashells and balloons. It's not like that. And the moment that you get out of that world and get back into the reality of David Samson and the great people here at the Dan Le Batard Show,
You're such a sweetheart, man.
I'm just being honest
I said,
with you.
we're looking at the greatest team of all time.
We're not,
And he
though.
said, don't get too happy.
Calm yourself down.
We
He
quite
tried to let
possibly
you know
are.
you don't know this sport the way he
We
does.
quite possibly
He
are.
ushered you in. He is your baseball Sherpa taking you to that mountaintop, and you're flailing, wanting bobbleheads and toys and all the the accoutrement. That's not what goes.
I like
with this.
accoutrement.
Sometimes
Now that you're here and Amin's gone, he tried to
Show's
roast.
a lot more handsome.
It is, dude. It got handsome.
a lot more handsome.
It got
to be honest
handsome.
with you.
We have to have you in
BMI has changed on the show a little bit, but Show's a lot more handsome.
We got to get Amin in here with you and Roy. We got to set a new record.
wait a minute.
Yesterday we set the record. We had an all-black main room,
Roy missed the blackest show in show history.
but Roy wasn't here.
I'm here now.
He gave you a little something at the end there too, a little baritone.
A
Huh?
little bass in my voice. It should have been a chest.
The first episode of the Black McAfee show here. Who's gonna wear the tank top?
I'm here now. Oh man, I volunteer.
Pull off a mullet.
All right, yeah.
You can pull off a mullet, Roy? Huh?
I'm in.
I've been following Roy.
I guess I'll
forever.
leave.
No. We need you, Jess.
No.
You make things,
Better.
palatable.
Oh
on
yeah,
this show.
balance for
Exactly.
sure. I actually looked up yesterday. We were talking about Denny's because you and I both had not been to many Denny's. No Denny's in the city of Chicago,
That's why.
but a few in Chicagoland. You were right.
Well, I try to stay away from the suburbs. I try to. I'm a little.
I've never had a moons over my hammy.
Well, Cody mentioned it, and I was like, uh-oh. There's another thing on this show that I don't know the reference to.
Damn good sandwich.
It's just a ham sandwich.
It's like a egg and cheese and ham. It's like their version of a ham, egg, and cheese sandwich.
I can
called
go
Moons
to
Over my hammy.
anywhere in Pilsen. I can go to anywhere in Humboldt Park, the areas that are close to me, and get an actual one with more quality control than Denny's. Shout out to Denny's. I don't know if they're a sponsor, so I don't want to go
Man,
crazy.
You're good.
This is a two Americas thing. I thought everyone knew about the Moons Over my hammy.
I've never heard of it.
This is crazy.
So
to me.
is
It's a
Denny's
Denny's
like
sandwich?
an after party?
I haven't been.
vibe?
Yeah, Denny's is like 2 a.m. back in the day.
Oh yeah, we got greasy spoons. You know what I mean? And you can't
That's where
get
Amin is
shot at
now.
a Denny's. I like to go somewhere where there's a little bit of danger.
I would go to IHOP, but not Denny's.
Yeah, IHOP. Yeah.
Yeah, I have been to IHOP.
Last time I was at IHOP, I was a kid, and then we dined in ditch, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, which is always the uncomfortable, like who's going to be the last person at the seat kind of vibe.
I think enough times passed. I think you're good.
Yeah, statute of limitations. They
You
come
know,
get me down here.
IHOP
Miami.
puts pancake batter in their omelets to make them like fluffier.
Yo,
the front door.
Jess, this is the oracle. Like there's information that I get from Jess that I didn't know I needed. Cody, Jess, you got Bam Adebayo stats back there from Jeremy. So
And what's my name?
You don't need.
He
to
just
know.
said it.
You tried real hard. Tried real hard.
No, he
You
was
were just
he was
hesitation.
looking
I
for
knew the pause.
Bam.
That
He
pause
was
was
looking
the
for-
same
this
as
is insecurity.
that pause was
No,
the same.
That's insecurity.
No.
When people read me right, they read me right. He's correct.
I got it. It's all right.
So what I usually do,
He was so smooth on everything else,
found
and
it.
I knew it. The hesitation. It was
but
the
what
same
I-
as
what I
night guy when
usually
you're
do
trying
is-
not to say drinker.
I try to whisper the words that I don't know or don't know how to pronounce or names that I don't know.
My
so
guy,
I was gonna go with
Bam
Jackie.
Adebayo.
Yeah, I was gonna go with Jackie. I was gonna
Jackie.
go real
Oh,
small.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You look like a Jackie.
You give Jackie.
You know what I
Jackie,
mean?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Jackie vibes.
Yeah, you go outside. Hey, that's my man Jackie.
That's fly.
Just
It's
the
a fly
jacket.
name. No, it's a fly name.
I'll take Jackie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
like
looks like he's always got some mid on him. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm down.
Jackie with the mid.
Jackie with the mid.
Yeah, you look like Jackie with the mid.
He's got his nice overshirt on. You know what I mean? I like the
He's a
vibe.
shacket, bro. Right.
For sure. Shacket, bro, for sure.
Oh, that's what it's called. I thought it was an overshirt.
Nah, it's
See?
a shacket.
Jess, where were you when I needed your guidance just
I'm
now?
sorry.
But-
I was gonna say Jeremy's thing now is that Dan started to rebrand.
Whose thing?
Jeremy's.
Who's that?
Jackie with
This
the
is
mid?
this is Jeremy.
Yeah, that's
Oh, I thought you were talking
Cachet.
about Jackie.
Okay.
Jackie. So Dan
Jackie
like
with the
rebranded
mid.
himself maybe like a year ago and started
yeah, I remember
wearing
that.
Overshirts?
more like business
What I wear.
casual, and now they dress like identically.
Oh, he stole your style.
Yeah,
is
he
what
did
you're saying,
completely.
Jamie.
A lot
So like the
whoever
shacket
his
thing is a
stylist
Dan
is.
thing too.
A lot of olive green.
But I
Lot of
have
green.
to
Can't go wrong.
I have to
Can't go wrong.
approve the new Dan style. Because, I mean, if you're copying Jeremy, you're doing all right. Jeremy dresses well for around here. Like,
For around here. No, that's the accurate
What
way.
is that
Very
supposed to mean?
low.
The bar's low, but I'll
no,
take
no,
it.
no. It means, I don't need to hide. It means exactly what I said it was.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Y'all,
Around here.
y'all dress like 90s cartoon characters. It's like a kid, like we at recess. Everybody dressed like they at
Hey
recess.
Arnold.
Yeah, that's it. Y'all dress like a bunch of Hey Arnolds, which is fine.
It's true. They have like uniforms. Like
Yeah.
Chris wears the
Exactly,
same shorts
right.
and the same
7-7
shirt every
shirts.
single day.
Yeah, and
I think we're going to stumble on an HR problem here soon, to be honest with you.
and I
We
walk
don't
in.
have
What
that.
is
Don't
that?
worry.
You're right. My bad. bro.
Jess come in here looking like wet, looking
Like-
nice and
like-
put together
like
like
$1
she
million bucks.
like
Good
she's
catch
going to
there.
a
Good
job.
catch there, Dominique.
Yeah. That was
What's
kind
the
of like
catch?
the
Keep
Jeremy
saving a
name
few.
just now. Yeah.
I was gonna say fly, but then I was like,
Like I said,
I
you
just
gotta
want to
be
say
careful.
nice. She's professional. She
There's
look like she's
there's
going to
different
work.
pressure on women than there
obviously.
are on men when in front of a camera, behind a microphone.
Being a
I
dude's
saw
great.
you guys getting touched up with makeup. I didn't
yeah.
know that. I come in here with
you
wearing
shining.
all my stress.
Well,
You
I've
know
gone
what I
a
mean?
long way. The first time I came down here, the lighting in this room wasn't for us.
Still not for us.
However,
What is it? Interrogation lighting? What do you mean by that?
it was. They didn't need. It wasn't as bright. And so
The
then
opposite of that.
Yeah. Then I sat down and was like, damn.
It was a sexier vibe in here. It was like low.
No, it was Dan and Stu. So
So it
their
was a sexier
skin,
vibe
if you
in here.
turn, absolutely not. So if you turn the light up too high, their skin doesn't look
Little
great.
translucent.
So then I come sit down and I'm like, this just eyes and teeth. What y'all doing? Give your man some light.
I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
the lighting was bad, but so I'm sorry that I didn't get you on the makeup, but at least I got your proper lighting.
I appreciate
Speaking of attire, though,
that.
what?
Are you gonna come after my shirt?
I'm not coming after your
Okay.
shirt.
Okay.
I'm
Eyes
just-
and
I
teeth.
found that every shirt that I've worn over the last couple of days has gotten, some kind of either
Commentary?
acclaim or exactly, commentary.
They all look great, but you got a vibe. You're the crochet king. You are the crochet king of Miami.
Knitwear.
Every shirt you worn down here.
But Dominique,
is
when you live in
hand
Chicago,
knit.
you have a week in Miami. You're bringing every button-down crochet short sleeve shirt you own.
Jess,
That-
I got 2 outfit changes for every day down here. Okay?
I understand you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna come and hang out with
He
new
hasn't
company.
seen the sun in 6 months, Dominique. All right.
Exactly, and that's just because I was locked up. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason. No, thank you, Jess. Like, can I have Jess be with me wherever I go
for
from here
sure.
on out?
The
I'll leave
knitwear.
tomorrow morning, Jess. Come on.
I bet that those crochet shirts was in the back of your closet, got shocked. They're like, oh, what are you doing? Unhand me, sir.
So I will be honest with you. They still had the cleaners tags on because I clean them at the end of the summer. I put them up. I put them in the
Right.
Ziploc bags, storage or whatever. And then I just hey, I'm going down to Miami to hang out with the peeps. I can't come down here in my down coat, and,
No.
in my Canada Goose expedition 30-pound sleeping bag that I have to wear every single day while I'm up in Chicago. No,
You
it
mean
was
that-
36 degrees when I left home.
You didn't want to come to work in athletic shirt and a baseball hat? That wasn't what you wanted to do?
What's up?
Right right now, that's probably not where I'm at in life. You know what I mean? That's not, I didn't work hard. My parents didn't come to this country to see me, dressed like a high school basketball manager.
Baseball coach, okay? High school
Baseball
baseball
coach?
coach. That's what he's going for.
You nailed
Who's
it, man.
he? I'm not talking about Cody.
Dominique throwing a
we're
lot of
not?
shade for plain shirt guy and shorts.
I was gonna say
Oh, these aren't shorts, baby. These are pants.
There's a lot of jealousy here. Dominique did not pack his own suitcase.
Oh, of course not.
And
Oh, you packed it for him, Charlie?
No, I think he wants a little bit more crochet.
Charlie want that credit, right? We're like,
Yeah, he
hey,
does.
damn it, enough now. Enough.
I picked out good outfits for him. He looks good.
Roy.
He turns him around as soon as he walks out the hotel room. No, back in with
It's a totally normal outfit. Find a new slant.
We're going to the beach. Where are your trunks?
We've come a long way with Charlie's attire. Because Charlie used to, when he first became the co-host of my show, he was just a producer at first and then became the co-host. And he kept dressing like a producer. And I was like, man, show the audience some respect. Show the audience some respect.
Collars are for dogs.
He would say things like collars are for dogs.
That's crazy. I have something like, well, not similar to that, but something that I tell my son, like belts are for winners.
There
Because
we
you
go.
see people
There
who
you
walk
go.
around without belts. I'm like, we're not having that. We're not having that. Put on a belt or get fat enough that your clothes sit on your hips the way
Right.
mine do. I don't have to bring a belt. You know what I mean?
I've never, that belts is for winners reminded me, like I've never met Charlie's dad, but I love him. Because he tells me the things that his dad says. What was the thing about the marathon runner that your dad uses all the time?
You can always pick up the pace.
Yeah.
The story of Bill Rogers of the 1980 Boston Marathon where he ran the last 5 miles like 4:30 pace. Anytime I'm dragging ass, Bill Rogers, you can always pick up the pace, has just yelled at me.
That's awesome, man.
Nothing like a dad not allowing for vulnerability and comfort. You know?
Hey,
That's how we
you're right.
forge
You can
good
always-
men in this world.
Let me tell you this other thing. And Charlie's dad might be mad at me even though I haven't met him. That Charlie told me that I can't let go of it. It makes me so happy. Charlie, could you please? I'm going to tell it wrong, so please tell the story.
You booting a few ground balls.
So first of all, Charlie's dad was a good athlete. Charlie's,
And I'm not.
Charlie's older brother is
Good
a
athlete.
college tennis player. Like, they're a family of pretty good athletes. And Charlie's a younger brother, and Charlie's playing baseball, and his dad says this.
Just booting a few ground balls and you just disgust. Be an athlete one time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn, man.
Oh, my God. Did you hear the trauma?
Stuck with you.
Yeah.
Meanwh's Chris's
Spoiler
dad
alert,
is
I
like,
did not.
hee-haw 3.
But damn.
Hey, that's a lot better than actually making a layup on your own basket and your father walking out of the game.
Oh.
Yeah. My dad came to one game when I was in junior high, and I was so excited, and I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in the court. I'm like, why is no one guarding me? I laid the basketball up, and all of a sudden, everyone exploded, and I just saw my father get up and walk out the door.
I love dad trauma talk.
Oh, yeah.
What a
It
morning.
makes us the men that we are. You know, it makes us overcompensate in our parenting. It
I feel
helps
like
us
I have
cry
to,
alone.
I have to add something to this because I feel left out. But my
Yeah, dad trauma. Let's go around the room.
the first thing that came to my mind was probably the opposite way. So I'm 10 years old, I think, playing Pop Warner football, and I come to the sideline after the game. We're riding home, and my dad's like, "That one play, like I thought you could have cut back that way." And I looked at my dad and was like, "You're not out there." Ooh. And my dad harkens back to that story all the time, and it was like, that was the last time I tried to give you any advice on football. He was like,
Seems like it's the last time you needed it. To be honest with you. It's nothing like when the 10-year-old runs the house now, by the way. Hey, go get, that garbage not going to take itself out, Dad.
I did not run the house at any point, but I was the best player on the team. I think I had 3 touchdowns in that game alone, and I got in the car, and he was like, "But that one play, you should have looked back inside." You're not out there, Dad.
You were like the football player that was so good you had to play like running back, wide receiver, corner.
He told us he played nose guard last night.
I only played nose guard for one game, and they never put me back at it.
They got like 8 sacks.
When you play like Pop Warner football, there's weight ranges. And so, like, obviously, if you're the same weight as me, I'm going to be a better athlete. They put me at nose guard, and the other team couldn't get a playoff because it was like, what are you gonna do?
Dominique the Diva was born in that car.
It was not. That didn't happen until I got back from my first time home after college and being in a real weight program. And my dad was like, "Oh, you got little weights. You think you something, huh? Little weight? Yeah. We had to get the wall replastered because I picked his little ass up and put him into the wall. But that was it.
We were getting to the domestic.
No, it was like playful.
Portions
It was playful
It was a
wrestling.
playful driving into the wall.
super playful.
It was.
Sometimes you just got to power bomb your
Y'all
dad.
never
like
wrestled
submissions.
before? I love my dad. He was great. He took
So
it
you
well
have mom
too.
trauma then.
You could have made that cut.
Same,
though.
honestly.
I agree,
Hey,
Cody.
Chris.
I agree.
You
I
weren't
agree.
out there, man. You wasn't out there. Northwood Rams was fast.
Chris's trauma is he saw his dad's feet one time.
Oh.
That toenail.
It's always awful.
Sticks with me.
Awful
Nightmare.
situation.
They were a feeder.
What is it with dads not wanting to ever take care of their
Wild.
feet?
It's wild.
Ever.
You tell us.
Ever.
Let's ask the dads.
No,
in the
I mean
room.
I get pedicures
I don't.
every 10 days or so.
It has inspired me. Every 10 days is not.
You're an
And that's-
inspiration.
I do like
That's a lot
I
of
do
money, man.
every couple months, but it's because I'm like I am not gonna let my feet get to that.
Yeah.
I think so. I remember my dad would say anytime we make fun of his feet, it's working man's feet. It's an ego masculinity thing. How many times you get a pedicure a week, Jackie? 2-3 times a week?
Yeah, it's like every other day.
Chris is out here trying to break the cycle. He's like, I'm not gonna have my dad's toenails. I'm not gonna do
Hey
it.
man, stick to what you believe in. I don't see anything wrong with
There it is.
God.
So
damn
terrible.
it.
A troll?
Yikes.
What is that? That's
a
fungus.
human foot,
No,
actually.
it's not. I don't believe
Get
that.
it off the screen.
It's a velociraptor.
It's a Lord of the Rings character.
It's like in
That kinda
Jurassic
thing.
Park, the nail that's like clapping on the floor.
You see the water trembling.
Get it off the screen.
That's
He's
tough.
deep frying a turkey there.
My God, he's
That
deep
foot-
frying his
that-
ankle is what he's doing.
That foot cannot
Good
be
veins,
connected
though.
to
Good
a
veins.
man.
Solid vein.
Good vein. Yeah. If he's ever got problems, getting an IV, you can go right to the feet right there. Strong
Scouting
veins
it.
in that. Yeah.
If you show me that picture, I would not say Greg. There would be some like you mentioned. That's
White Shack.
whack.
From game night to parties with friends or special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. When I think of Miller Lite, I think of me and my dad cheersing, watching a Marlins game on a cruise together. We get the tsk-tsk-ah and the cheers. It's just, when I think of Miller Lite, I think of times with my dad, times with family and friends. It's the original light beer since 1975, still iconic 50 years later. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, so Jerry Jones at it again, man. This guy is the most impressive reality TV producer in history. I used to get frustrated, and I still sometimes, one of the things that I enjoy doing is pointing out when owners and management in general drop the ball on one of the very few things that only they are responsible for, and that is like the external communication. So between the Cowboys and the Bengals right now, who are both in contract negotiation situations with top-of-the-league talents at pass rusher, at marquee positions, they both seem to be bungling the external communication part about this. The last time that someone messed this up so bad, or not even the negotiations part, but the communications part, was when the owner of the Giants kind of put all his coaches and general managers on the hot seat and making a joke, suggesting that, like, they better show me something fast. And I was like, you're putting them in a bad spot. But fast forward to now, Jerry Jones is supposedly in negotiations with Micah Parsons. He had one-on-one conversations with Micah Parsons, which Jerry Jones believes is some sort of level of, like, binding negotiations, I guess. But Micah Parsons has an agent. And rather than be quiet, is one thing you could do. Rather than do that, Jerry Jones says the agent is not a factor here or something to worry about. And I don't know his name. Like, his name is David Mulligetta, who everyone knows his name because he might be the agent. But that aside, what are you doing other than trying to get up in the morning or trying to get people to talk about? Like, he has to be, unless he is careening towards some sort of, I don't know, mental age situation, he has to know that that's not going to sit well with Micah Parsons, and it's not going to look right for him unless we're just accepting that he's like, man, how can I get them to talk about me?
Well, I think it's a guy who the only wins that Jerry Jones seemingly is going to get is in these art of the deal moments now, where you look at how he's done things in these face-to-face, give me your handshake, and that should be binding conversations. You know, I was long put in a position long ago and told by people who dealt with contracts, if anybody makes you feel funny about the money that you have earned, see it for what it is and keep it moving. Micah Parsons can't keep it moving. You know, you got to take what's on the table. But saying that David Mulugeta is not a person that you should have to even have any speaks with, any conversation with, nor acknowledging his presence. One, that is setting a precedent for all these contracts going forward. Like, oh yeah, if I'm the Rams and I'm talking to somebody who I've drafted, I don't need to talk to their agent. I don't need to bring in one of the power brokers of the game. He's not winning on the field. He any attention is good attention. I think he still operates under that premise. But the whole art of the deal and the whole negotiation and the whole, oil tycoon and businessman kind of vibe that he is trying to give off, he's still having those wins in his mind. And also, please believe when these owners get together and talk like they need to talk without the cameras around, Jerry Jones is walking around with the big stick in his head. Yeah. So he continues to go about things this way.
Within the owner's room, he still has this type of leverage. He went on to say that I'm not trying to demean him, but it isn't about an agent. I'm not demeaning the agent, which you only say if you know that what you just said was demeaning.
It's it's the no disrespect preface. Yeah, disrespect, but your baby's ugly. You know what I mean? Like
with all due respect. Oh, that's one of my favorite. I love it with all due respect. If you say with all due respect,
shade is coming.
Oh, I can't wait. I am hanging on to the very next phrase that you let out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And he hasn't won these negotiations. Like, he waits to the last moment. He loses negotiations. I guess I just don't understand the point of this. The only way that
he thinks he's won some of them, though. He thought he won the Tony Romo one. And by the way, these are all the face-to-face.
Tony Romo.
We don't need
how long ago is
Tony Romo, DeMarcus Lawrence.
The recent ones.
Zach Martin. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. As long as you can go back and harken back to a day that you won one of these, the next one is the one you think you're going to win. And with Micah Parsons, if you are going to give him the highest non-quarterback contract in the league anyway, you saying, I don't want to talk to your agent is just you drawing a line that's not necessary. You see it in relationships all the time where it's like, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it my way and on my time. And his way and his time has a little bit, there's constrictions and confinements to it that you got to get this thing going. And the more that we talk about this and the more it's public, the two sides are going to come to an agreement. It's just, hey, how much angst do you want to put upon your organization and your fan base, and especially a player now who, you don't signing a deal that you don't feel good about, and then going to have to perform the 3 games in a row that you don't get pressures. You're going to think, damn, did I make a mistake? Was this the right thing to do? Do these people still revere and care about me? Like
signing
it's
Micah Parsons. The thing that I don't get about these Jerry Jones negotiations is signing Micah Parsons and signing Dak Prescott, signing CeeDee Lamb. Signing these guys is easy. Especially Micah Parsons right now. It's like, you know what? Add $1 onto whoever had the less deal and let's keep it moving. Unless you're trying to revolutionize this thing or you're trying to take advantage of him, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, he's that type of player that when he's up, you pay him whatever the guy is ahead of him. And I think they all accepted that he's going to be the highest paid, like, non-quarterback, at least on defense out there, or maybe tie him with Myles Garrett. Either way, this is not a heavy conversation. I understand why the sentiment is maybe we don't need an agent, but why ever say that? That's what I don't understand. It's like, this is not making the negotiations any better. When it's Jerry Jones, sometimes I'm willing to think that the purpose for doing this is just to create a story because he knows how to create a story, but I'm not quite sure why Katie Blackburn, who runs the Bengals, would say what she said, because everything that she said seems like it makes Trey Hendrickson not want to sign with that team, and he has one more year on his deal, and Micah Parsons not up tomorrow either, so both of these guys will likely play for their team going forward, but it's as if they believe that we're in a fantasy football world where it doesn't matter how you interact with your star players, where it doesn't matter what you say about them or whether you embarrass them. Just so you know, this is what she said. She said, I think he should be happy at a certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at. I think some of it is on him to be happy at some point. And if he's not, that's what holds it up sometimes. What are you talking about?
A lot of
like,
nothing.
why? But why say it? I don't understand why.
Their situation is different, though. Cincinnati's situation is different. I think Jerry resetting the market for 3 different positions in the span of 3 or 4 years. I think he has to go back to the owners and go, hey, man, I fought. You saw how much I fought. And I know we got to sign these jerks, but I fought. With the Bengals, I had a chance to cover the Bengals-Rams Super Bowl. The stories that I heard about how that team still travels, how that team still eats, how that team still goes about their business, this is ingrained. Hey, listen, we don't do this. Your name is Trey Hendrickson, and we might lose with you. Yeah. We take what you can get. And this is what you can get. I think it's a different lens that the Bengals and Katie, that you mentioned just now, whose name Blackburn. Just like Jackie, I can't remember Katie Blackburn exactly. Yeah. I think they're looking at this through different
I would
lenses.
think that Trey Hendrickson actually has more leverage than we would think he does because of the way that this team is constructed. This team is constructed in a way where they believe that they could make a run, but they don't got nobody on defense except for him. So, if he actually decided, we looking at a Emmitt Smith situation. If he actually decides not to show up,
couple games,
but they gonna lose.
But there's the thing. Their defense was
either
trash
way.
and lost with him. Yeah, that's what Katie Blackburn's like, hey, man, lost and got our heads beat in with you.
But I guess, and this may be an impossible question to answer, is
I'll always love those.
Just because someone put a microphone in front of you or just because a reporter asks you a question does not mean that you have to answer it, or doesn't mean that you have to answer it honestly. I also think that these aren't curveball surprise questions. You should be ready to deliver a nothing answer that won't get talked about on the Dan Le Batard Show or Pat McAfee Show when Trey Hendrickson went on there to respond to it, or on any of the other ESPN shows. You should be able to do that or make a comment that helps you in negotiations, because what she did there, I don't think helped. Telling him, you got to be happy. At some point, you just got to be happy. Maybe that's how you feel. Maybe that's right. But can't you just be like, yeah, we're working on it. We really believe he's important to us. We're going to figure it out. I don't care what it takes.
It kind of tells you what the environment is, though, of the people that you are bouncing things off of and conferring with, right? The ecosphere is different for you now. Now that you're removed from the situation and you take a look at from a zoomed out perspective and you're part of the media now, we have different environments that we talk about these things. If I'm in a boardroom and I'm sitting here like, hey, we were terrible on defense last year with this guy, and then, oh yeah, we were, and then there's another, oh yeah, we were, yeah, he should be happy about what he's getting, and then you're surrounded by, hey, you know what, good talk, let's go to lunch. Oh, by the way, on the way to lunch, a microphone gets stuck in your face. Hey, what the hell's going on with Trey? Hey, you know what, damn it, Rob in the meeting said that you should be happy about this money, and I don't care how it comes out, this is what it is. We act as if rich people and people who cut checks for rich people aren't different in their thinking. And when they become different in their thinking and verbalize it, we're like, wait a minute, did the ultra rich person or the person who has the ultra rich person's checkbook in their hand gonna be different? No. We see a lot of these organizations have zombies walking around them, just whatever you say is fine, whatever you say is good. This is what they spit out, though.
It'd be interesting. It'd be really nice if we had someone to give us an NBA perspective, because so rarely do we get the NBA owners and general managers talking bad
Jeremy,
about
what do you
players.
think?
Speaking of NBA perspective,
I was kidding.
There was perspective if you look
Shut
at
up,
the Heat
Jeremy.
game from last night.
We
Jason
were- I was
Tatum,
talking
4
about
of
me.
17 from the
me.
field, guarded by Pelle
I'll turn his
Larson,
mic
a
off.
shutdown defender.
Thank you.
Wait, before we get the basketball perspective, can we relive? You mentioned a few minutes ago saying no disrespect or no offense.
No shade.
We had a pretty famous incident between Dan and Jay Billis on this show where there was a no offense involved.
If someone with Tyler Hansborough's resume were black, do you think people might say, he's unathletic or he's not athletic enough.
Dan, no offense, but this is stupid. I mean, all due respect. I mean, if you guys want to talk about this, I'm here to talk about whatever you want outside of this.
No,
but this is stupid.
We don't have to talk about anything, but it's not stupid. And you can't start a sentence.
It is.
Jay, you can't start a sentence with no offense and then say this is stupid.
Okay, then take offense. It's stupid, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. You want to talk about something else?
No, thank you. Good talking to you.
You do.
Jay Billis of ESPN.
Yep. Correct. Now, to the younger,
I thought that was going to steer back into the direction of and we can bring up some other North Carolinian basketball player that you shouldn't care about.
Nope. And by the way, for the listeners, the younger listeners, that sound at the end was the sound of a phone hanging up. See, back in the day, it wasn't like a touch screen and you just said end call. You had to physically pick the receiver and clang it down on this cradle, and it would create this sound that everyone understood as that's the sound of getting hung up on.
No, you know what we call
Billis
that?
of ESPN.
We call that a landline.
A landline.
I miss banging the phone.
Oh
with
my God!
someone.
You
ESPN.
angrily ending a call?
ESPN.
The
ESPN.
ultimate form of disrespect.
ESPN.
Communication wise.
ESPN.
Oh, it's a subtle one too. It's like a drop on the
ESPN.
line. Yeah, it wasn't a bang. It was like, you know what? I'm done with this pity conversation.
ESPN.
That's nasty.
Jay Billis, man.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
Don't play around
Play
with
no
Jay.
games around here.
Don't play. Hey, all them Jeezy lyrics he recites.
I gotta go to work.
All right, let's get the basketball perspective.
Yeah,
Nice voice.
Let's get it.
So we were talking about contract negotiations and how it
ESPN.
blows my mind every time, and it happens fairly regularly in the NFL where the contract negotiations are happening and the team representatives say something that I believe to be unnecessary and counterproductive and somewhat disrespectful. Right now, Jerry Jones is doing it to David Mulugeta, and Katie Blackburn is doing it to Trey Hendrickson. And I just don't I can't remember a time where it's happened recently in the NBA where they just are straight up like, he gonna be happy with this deal. But I guess in part because those contracts are already kind of predetermined, where it's like either you're gonna get a max deal or you're not.
Yeah, the negotiation in the NBA happens for the middle class people. If you are a certain caliber player, we don't have to guess what you're worth. We know what you're worth immediately by the number of years you've played in the league, basically. It's a fixed number. It is a percentage of what the salary cap is. And so that takes a lot of the guesswork which would be really interesting conversation, which is in an uncapped, not unsalary cap, but unmaximum cap society.
Be a better world.
What is Steph Curry worth?
Right.
70 million? 80 million? 90 million? There is a legitimate conversation about Steph, LeBron, Giannis, Jokic. Like these guys, whatever you're paying them is probably still not going to be enough. And at some point, then it comes into, which I imagine in the NFL is a lot of the conversation. Like, I want to pay you this, but also I want to also be able to field the team. And that's what the team salary cap does, is it makes it harder for that distribution of money. Now, in the NFL, I think they do a better job of giving the money to the people who impact winning the most. For us, we are limited, and we take that extra money and we make multi-millionaires out of guys who are fairly replaceable on that level.
I've always wondered this is, I think you could make up a couple different scenarios, but maybe you have a better projection than me. What would it look like if you removed the max salary? What would happen? Because I think my desire is to remove the max salary because it generally feels like an unnecessary restriction, but I also am willing to accept that there's a possibility that you could end up in a world where there are a lot of teams or a number of the very best players don't find themselves in the most consequential games at the end of the year because they're on teams that have given so much of their salary to them. And then there are these other teams that are made up of a lot of really good players that end up finding their way to the championship, which would be a result that we wouldn't want.
But ultimately, if it happens, what's going to happen to that team is someone's going to be like, I deserve more money, man. And once that happens, it throws everything off. It's funny, as a player advocate, you should want the max salary because it helps more players than not having a max salary, which helps a handful of players. But what would happen is, take the Lakers, for example. LeBron is, I think, like it's whatever LeBron agrees to. Yeah. But if he was like, I don't want to leave $1 on the table, he could easily say $90 to $100 million a year. Mm-hmm. And Luka could probably say 70 to 80. So now with two players, you're over both aprons. Basically, everybody else. Austin Reeves, he's making minimum, right? Rui Hachimura, he's making minimum. All these other Dorian
if you did
Finney-Smith.
that, wouldn't you have to get rid of the
they
salary
would be
cap
there.
period?
No, because the whole point would be like, y'all want to be paid what you're worth for real? Okay. It's going to be one of y'all per team, though. Like, that whole, I'm going to team up with him and him, it gets deaded, or either it gets deaded or someone says, I'm willing to leave money on the table. And that's a big, like, everyone loves to be teammates and homies until, like, I got to leave money on the table. And it's not necessarily that,
Can't eat these championships.
Yeah, and it's not even about like, oh, I'm making 60 versus 80 million. About like, what can I do with 80 that I couldn't do with 60, right? It's not about that. It's about I'm making 60 or 30 or whatever, and that guy makes it. And then the moment he messes up, I'm like, and y'all gave the money to him?
See, and that's where I would enjoy it more, to be honest with you, because I like as much scrutiny as we give players on across every platform in every sport. Like, to me, the architects of these teams don't get called into question as much as they should. Let's find out who the real talent evaluators are. Let's find out who the guys who are paying $12 million to a guy who's probably worth $35, $40 million because they found a diamond in the rough or they found a good fit. Like, I'd be fine with that across the board. Like, that's the more American way to do things.
Well, that's the other part of this, right? The other
salary cap altogether
is I don't mind it. I think it's good. If you are,
would you say it's ruined baseball?
Not having a salary cap? I think, there are teams that know instantly on April 1st, hey, we're not, it ain't us. Every year.
Baseball ruined baseball, but I think that the
David Samson.
Yeah.
Pitch clock coming up soon.
Although I am very excited about Shohei Ohtani and the 8-0 Dodgers right now.
But not pitch clock.
And I'm even more excited about pitch clock with my man Jackie with the mid.
Jackie with the mid. I'm sorry, Jackie.
No, it's great.
You know what's funny about baseball is that Shohei is finally someone that, like, I think is a star that transcends. I've told this story before. I went to a White Sox game, right? And they were playing. Yeah, it rained that day. It was a bad day in Chicago, as all my days in Chicago are. But they played the Blue Jays, and this is when the Blue Jays had, like, I don't know if it's still the case, but they had all these guys who were like the sons of like famous baseball players.
Black Guerrero Jr.
So work hard.
Yeah.
So they were like
Dante Bichette.
The Black Guerrero Jr. Man, oh my God, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I remember Black Guerrero. Like, so I remember. I was like, cool. I'm excited, and I went to the game, and like he got walked twice, and like he fouled out or whatever.
Had a good eye.
And then, like defensively, he didn't do because the ball never came to his way. And I said, how do you have a sport where you have a player like if I go to an NBA game and I say I'm going to a LeBron game, I'm going to see some LeBron ass. Oh my God, if I go to a Chiefs game, I'm going to see Mahomes do some crazy. Baseball is the only sport, even soccer. I'm going to go to Inter Miami. I'm going to see Messi do some if he's playing. But when it comes to baseball, it's the only sport where like I can legitimately go and watch a 3-game series, and the best player perhaps of all time, in Mike Trout, doesn't do. Not because it's his fault.
I just had this experience. The Angels were in town. I took my son to his second baseball game for all time.
Yep.
Right. I sat pretty much in the batter's box for $115. Ron Washington is like 6 feet away from me. Yeah, Mike, always gonna be my man, Ron Washington. Denied.
It's the first time I tried it.
Hey, come on, man.
Who among us?
Right.
Who among us hasn't been curious?
Exactly. How does this smell? Right, so I'm sitting there and. Mike Trout comes up, and I tell him, like, yo, this is, like, the Mickey Mantle of our generation.
Yeah.
My son's like, okay. And
they're like 4 pitches, walk them.
Yeah. No, he gets walked, and then the rain starts, and then we go back into the concourse, and I'm like, damn, this experience really wasn't what I thought it would be. I think baseball has an issue with accentuating the dopeness in the intricacies. Like, the turning of a double play and how athletic it is, we've become, like, it's kind of what the dunk used to be for us, and then sports and everybody was like, oh, everybody dunks too much, and now we don't get any bodies. We don't accentuate certain things that should be marketed. I think that's what happens in baseball far too often, and we get these issues.
I always talk about the dopeness of the intricacies.
And basically, in anything in my life, I want that.
Dopeness?
Dopeness or
intricacies?
Yeah?
Two of the things that jumped out to me. Two of the things that jumped out to me as you were talking, Jason,
ESPN.
was one, you tried to sell Mike Trout to your 8-year-old son by saying he's like Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
Your son,
I was
your
trying to
8-year-old
give
son
him-
is a big Mickey Mantle guy.
I was trying to give him a frame of reference. You drop these names on them so that when they're 15,
No,
20
you got to
years
compare
old,
him to a basketball player.
Yeah, you gotta
He's 8.
compare him.
Well,
He's like Lamar Jackson.
My little
The
guys,
Bob Cousy of
So my
baseball.
little guy's a gymnast. So I don't. Hey, Frederick Richard from the University of Michigan. That's what
Oh,
he's
I
like.
love that guy.
Yeah, you don't even love that guy. You don't know who the
He
hell
was
he
on
is.
Team
Jess.
USA.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Thanks,
Yo,
Jess.
that's a-
Jess got your back, man. She got
That's the
your
guy with the
back all
glasses that was
time.
on Dancing with the Stars.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
my guys.
That was the pommel horse guy.
Oh, you actually know? I thought you were being funny. We
No,
said he's
no,
on
no.
TV USA. I'm like, that's a great guess.
Thank you.
No, I actually know stuff.
There was no frame of
Sometimes.
reference. There was no frame of reference.
Do it, I dare you.
And by the way, another Chicago shot. We're gonna have to arm wrestle. I
He only
know-
goes to Chicago in like February, and he's like, "This stinks."
I've been every season possible. The weather is always the same.
It's
Awful.
the greatest summer city in the world. What are you talking
Absolutely not.
What are you talking
I
about?
went there in the summer. It was raining. It rained the whole time.
Because your sadness brought the rain. That's why.
You're bringing dark clouds over there, man.
Exactly. No pun intended. Man, what the hell is going on?
the
Speaking of dark
dopeness-
clouds, I like the
That's-
vibe in here right now.
Oh, and we got Roy. I think we
Hey.
set a new record.
The blackest show ever.
Wait, later when Juju comes on.
Oh,
Critical
oh
mass.
boy.
Critical mass. This is the last time I went to Chicago. I got invited to an after party.
That's a bad start.
Hold on.
It's a bad
It's a
start.
bad start. Wait till the finish. And it's like, oh, it's at the studio. I'm like, well, whose studio? Well, Rob's going to be there. Rob's going to be there. I'm like, Rob. And then I realized it's an R. Kelly. I got invited to an R. Kelly after party in the studio in Chicago. And I was like, I'm going to go home.
A lot of girls there.
I have no idea, Roy. I didn't want to find out. I think there was a
He just sent a pallet of Capri Suns over to the location and was like, "Hey guys, this is my."
There was a molecule of curiosity. I'm like, this is going to be the greatest story you'll ever be able to tell. And then I was like, absolutely not.
ESPN.
When that raid happens, and then it's
Thank
like,
you.
And then
like,
you're a witness in court.
witness in court. Like I'm going to be like that.
So-
That picture, like.
So the third market in the country.
Defendant.
The only thing that you had happen that was interesting is being invited to an R. Kelly after party.
Pretty much. That's the most
all the
interesting.
people that you know in the NBA, all the people that you might know in that city.
Yeah.
That's what brought its way across your agenda.
I have this argument with a lot of people in my life. A lot of people either from Chicago or love Chicago. And I'm like, I don't like it. You
This
tell
is a
me
real
right
thing.
now.
We started having this argument, and then I was
a
like,
real
you know
thing.
what? We don't like you either. Don't
Oh.
come back.
I did not
Damn.
know this. All these years that I've been
This is why you never
conversing
see.
with you.
It's why you never see me up there. I would tell you right now, if someone said, you got to spend a month. It doesn't matter what season it is. Well, okay, let's say summertime. Because
Yeah, summertime.
Say a month in Chicago or a month in Milwaukee. Send me to Milwaukee.
Are you kidding me?
I love Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee.
All right,
Sounds crazy.
This is ridiculous.
Milwaukee's fun.
This is ridiculous.
Milwaukee's- I'm gonna tell you why.
You
Because
go to the Pfister
I know
Hotel and
why.
get cheese
I know
curds,
why.
and then you're done for the entire. What are you gonna do the next
Go to
29 days?
Summerfest?
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell
what
you.
are you talking about?
I'm gonna tell you why Milwaukee is
Because
cool.
you're a contrarian. You're
No.
just like you're the guy
I
who's
can't-
like,
I
hey,
legit
everybody
can't-
likes this.
I
and
cannot
I
believe
think it's
this.
dumb.
I cannot believe this. I'm legit.
I'm
shocked
gonna tell
by
you why. Because Milwaukee, the people in Milwaukee are like, it's Milwaukee, man. Like, and I'm like, you know what? I came in trying not to like it. They're like, man, it's what we got. And I'm
They
like,
set
you know,
your expectations low.
They were just cool about it. They understood their place in life. And once I was like, okay,
now
Chicago
we're getting
people,
where we need to get now.
Chicago people,
This is it.
are like, this is the greatest. Like what he just said. I'm like, man, please,
the greatest summer city in the world.
give me L.A. or New York anytime.
What is
Really?
the
No, New York in the summer is.
Oh, I love it.
What is the ideal summer day in Chicago? Like when you say best summer city, like what are you doing?
Oh my God! You can go to the art museums. You
Cubs
can go
game.
to
Ride your bike
Cubs
on the
games.
lake shore.
Right, you can go on a magnificent mile.
Drink
enjoy
outside.
yourselves.
It's
the
warm,
best-
but it's not humid.
And
Chris, you
it's-
wouldn't even believe what that feels
I'm
like.
asking. I'm just.
and
I'm
also
in the middle,
right now,
down the
You
middle,
can't
Chris.
fathom warmth without humidity.
And as far as
Your
foods- and as far as
Broward
food
brain
cities
could
are
not
concerned.
comprehend.
Broward brain is outstanding.
I'm sweating just thinking about heat.
It's
far as
also just the happiest summer city. Everyone's
my
so
God.
happy to be outside.
Oh, this is
drinking
so
and-
much better than us. Shut up.
mean,
All y'all do is compare yourselves
it's
to
your
real
tour guide.
cities.
People are skipping.
I mean,
real city.
Real cities.
It's a okay,
and you got an
that's
airport that
crazy.
closes.
It's the second city.
It's the third at best.
It's the second city because the first one burned down when we were strong enough to build ourselves back up.
Exactly.
That's why it's the second.
It should have
city.
burnt it down a second time.
My grandma grew up on the street where the Great Chicago Fire started.
Right? Oh,
Yeah.
well, white privilege.
But it was like 40 years later.
for her or for her grandma?
We had to put it back together. No, seriously though, I did not know you felt this strongly about this. Hey, can we do a field trip?
Okay, so
can we do a field trip?
I'm in.
Yes.
Can you come through?
Right? Let's go.
Please.
Let's go.
I mean, it's a city where it's a big city. You can do a lot of things, but it doesn't cost you $26 to get a cocktail.
It's the best
unless you go to like
food
the
city,
tourist
too.
places that
Nope.
your friends took
Best
you to.
food city.
Best food city.
Can't be better than New York.
Absolutely
food-wise.
not.
The Cubby Bear. Let's go.
Absolutely not.
You know what you guys can't do though? Go to a playing game because the Heat are going to end up hosting that 9-10 matchup, baby.
Tell him, Jackie.
All right, there it is.
Jackie with the me.
Dunked
on y'all.
I'm so disappointed that you feel this way, man.
Look, we got to do a
We
field
gotta
trip.
change. Yeah, we
I have
gotta
to do a
change this
Detroit
for you.
field trip too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take you to
Detroit's nice.
some actual Chicago places too, not just the places where
Not
tourists go.
Federales.
Yeah, no, never that. No.
That's where he went.
Really? You went to Federales to throw shots?
Do we have
at
video of
Bells?
you trying to throw the shot? I mean, is this what it comes back to?
Did you really do the throw the shot
The
thing?
ice shot?
Oh,
that was like the pinnacle of Chicago.
How bad was the throw?
No, I hit it.
Don't believe it.
The bell
No,
rang
not
and
a
everything.
chance. The video
did you
didn't
have some?
happen.
Did you have some deep dish pizza too?
While-
Did you have like the thing
while
that no
we're-
one eats there?
While we're
besides
going over
tourists?
on time, let me just address something Charlie in the
Look
back.
at
Easy on deep dish pizza, by the way.
Look at production Pete over here.
Charlie,
It's a pie.
You think that my
That you're
Uber
a bad
rating,
athlete? Yes.
my Uber rating is low because you have me talking to Uber drivers? That's what you think?
No. I had you drunk in Ubers.
Welcome back to God Bless March Madness, presented by Priceline. Dreaming about that trip? Book it and go to your happy price with Priceline. Taylor and I are going to talk about a little Final Four action coming up this weekend. On the men's side, Taylor, who do we got?
It is Florida versus Auburn in a battle of two of the best teams from the SEC. And then we have Duke versus Houston. Jess, I hate to say this with this Duke team.
Don't say it.
It's their tournament to lose.
Oh, no.
It's their tournament to lose.
I mean, that's going to make it even better if they do
Yes.
lose a game and then
Yes.
everyone posts the White Lotus meme of Jason Isaacs holding a
Yes.
gun. That Duke was like, we hate this meme.
This Duke team, they just have like such unbelievable size. Everybody in their rotation, including their point guards, they're all bigger than 6'5". And with this Duke team, Duke's always had the NBA talent, the lottery picks, but the way this team has kind of been playing together has been unbelievable to watch. And you know, to steal a line from Andrew Hawkins, I like this Houston team.
I like them.
I like every team that's about to play Duke until they play Duke, and that's where I'm kind of running into with this Houston team.
Houston, Tennessee was a tough watch, right? Like one of the toughest watches of the tournament.
Yeah.
30 points through like 30 minutes of play.
And Houston kind of has that strategy where out of the 364 teams in college basketball, they're like 360th in adjusted tempo. So they're trying to drag you down into the mud. But this Duke team is unbelievably efficient. It's Ken Palm's number one offense, Duke, versus the number one defense in Ken Palm, Houston.
Uh-oh, Taylor, what does that mean?
You know what that means.
Should we say it on the count of 3?
1, 2, 3.
Something's gotta give. We totally didn't plan that. Okay, we're going to talk about the other game, too, in the men's tournament, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about our Final Four matchup in the women's tournament. So what can you tell me about this Florida-Auburn SEC showdown this weekend?
Yeah, this is a rematch from a game where Florida won at Auburn, and this Florida team feels like they've been playing with fire this whole tournament, where UConn, they have the crazy comeback against UConn, they have a crazy comeback against Texas Tech where it looked like they were dead. A lot of people are comparing Walter Clayton Jr. to Steph Curry. In the words of Stugotz, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop, please. But yeah, Walter Clayton has been unbelievable, and this is just a win-win for the SEC because somebody has to get in. Auburn comes in with some injury concerns. Janai Broome is expected to play, but if he's not 100%, it's tough to see how Auburn can beat this loaded Florida team without their SEC Player of the Year at 100%.
So you think this is Auburn and Duke in the final? That's your prediction?
I think no, Duke Florida.
Duke Florida. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. I am really happy that everyone who picked 1 seeds this year in their Final Four was rewarded in the men's tournament. That's always fun when like the least knowledgeable person in your group of friends is like winning because they just picked all the ones to go through. That's my sister.
It's a good strategy.
That's my sister. She also she does the silliest thing. She'll pick she picked Green Bay to beat Alabama in the women's tournament bracket that we made, and I'm like, how are you so chalky in the men's one, and then in the women's one you were like, yeah, let me just pick this crazy upset real quick. God bless her. She does not watch sports. But we're going to talk a little bit about another SEC Final Four matchup, which is South Carolina, the Gamecocks, Don Staley's Gamecocks, the defending national champions, against Texas, a team that they've already played several times this year. Because when they made the women's tournament bracket, they were like, what if we just put UCLA and USC on one side, the Big Ten championship teams, and South Carolina and Texas on the other side, the SEC championship teams, and then hope that maybe they won't just play against each other again in the Final Four round. Well, that's almost what happened, except for the fact that UConn upset. It was not really an upset because Juju Watkins obviously went out with the ACL injury in the second round of the tournament. But UConn's very, very good, but they're only 2 seeds. So they're going to be playing against UCLA on one side, and then the other side, South Carolina, Texas, like I mentioned. So it's been an interesting tournament for South Carolina. Obviously, last year they were undefeated. They were a team that was just blowing people out. They were just so dominant. And this year, that has not been the case. They've been grinding out wins against really good teams, but they haven't been winning by, multiple possessions, like big margins. It hasn't really been that easy for them. That doesn't mean, though, that they can't win the national championship. I think they are fully capable of playing in the national championship game, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. If I had to guess, these teams played against each other like 3 weeks ago in the SEC tournament championship, like I said, and man, Texas had no gas in that game. It was 64-45, complete blowout. Madison Booker, who's Texas's best player, she was SEC Player of the Year. She's sort of been not a non-factor in these South Carolina games. And so that's going to be a huge key for Texas. They're a great defensive team, and if they can hold South Carolina's scoring to as low as possible, there's a real chance. But they don't shoot the 3 ball really well at all, Texas. So that's it's really tough when you're playing against South Carolina, who has a deep bench. They have like a player like Malaysia Fulwiley who can come off the bench and just completely take over offensively. It's going to be, I think, a South Carolina win, but I'm hoping it's a better game than the last time these two teams played each other.
If you tell me a team's not a good 3-point shooting team, I almost automatically cross them off in my head.
I mean, they were still a 1 seed in this tournament. Like, Texas is still, I want to give them some credit. Like, they're still a very, very good team, and their defense is excellent. The TCU-Texas game in the Elite Eight round was an extremely low-scoring affair. It was not pretty. And I think that, it's eventually like it's gonna hurt you when you don't have that. And I think they were 1 for 8 the last time they played against South Carolina from 3. So, like I said, I think South Carolina wins that game. According to ESPN, Texas is 23-0 when opponents shoot less than 40%. So that's the magic number for Texas is like shut them down as much as you can defensively and try to get Madison Booker to cook on offense and have a better field goal percentage than the last couple times she's played against South Carolina. The last time they met, she was held to 14 of 13 shooting. So I predict Don Staley's team will be playing in the national championship game. Who she's playing against, well, and we will find out on the other side of the old Final Four bracket, because UCLA and UConn, I kind of like UConn more just because their offense has more. They can spread the ball out to more players and have more players just go off and have crazy nights. Paige Beckers is obviously the best women's basketball player left in this tournament. She's going to be a number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft coming up, and she's had a legendary career at UConn. And her 105 points in the last 3 games is the most prolific 3-game stretch in UConn history. And that is saying a lot because UConn history is littered with some of the best women's basketball players ever in the whole world. So I think this game, it's going to be a good game. Lauren Betts, who is UCLA's star big, she's 6'7", and UConn really doesn't have a lot of height that they can match up with her. But they're big, I guess. Sarah Strong, she's sort of playing like a more versatile position. she's not quite as big as Lauren Betts, but she's been playing really, really well, and she can sort of shoot from anywhere on the floor. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup to watch. I think that I give UConn the edge because Gino Auriemma he's a legendary head coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to win these games and to win these sorts of matchups. And I think that they have more guards that can have 20, 30-point games. If you shut down one of them, you still have to deal with like 2 or 3 more. And that's AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong and Paige Beckers, and Caitlin Chen even had a huge game in the Elite 8 round. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I give the edge to UConn, but if UCLA did win, they were the number 1 overall seed in this tournament. They are a really good team, and when they do have the support from the rest of the team to like help play through the post and also shoot on the perimeter, they're obviously really, really good too. So I'm excited for these 2 games, Taylor, but if I had to pick right now, I'd say UConn, South Carolina.
And after the injury that Paige Beckers had, this feels like this would be kind of like the storybook ending to her UConn career.
Absolutely. She's had so many injuries, but she's had this like long, prolific UConn career and is about to have hopefully a long, prolific WNBA career. She's a great player to watch and a super fun player to watch play. So Friday night, Final Four, women's NCAA tournament. Taylor, when are our men's games? Saturday? Got Saturday and then Monday championship. Exciting stuff. Wow.
I'm sad it's coming to an end.
I know, me too. It's been so fun. God bless March Madness.
Stat of the day, brought to you by Evan Williams Bourbon. Game day's #1 pour, Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Bardstown, Kentucky, 43 to 45% alcohol by volume. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus.
MVP.
1 for 2.
Guys, Chris said Burby. We officially don't need to go to Game 5. According to ESPN, Paige Beckers holds the highest career per game scoring average, 19.9 points, in Huskies history.
There you have it.
That's quite a great history, too.
More than Maya Moore.
Zagak.
More than Rebecca Lobo.
Yeah, a lot of players have played there.
Stewie.
And yet she stands apart right now. Also, I mentioned a stat in the last segment about her last 3 games, 105 points, best in Huskies history.
It's amazing.
She's on a tear right now, which is why I picked UConn to win in the Final Four game this weekend.
She talks that talk, too. That's what I like about her. You know, you can tell the playlist is a little urban.
Yeah, No. I met her at her freshman year.
She seemed paid in full. You know, you can tell. You can tell.
Definitely.
2 Americas, Cody. I'll let you borrow
They get shot every day, B.
Yeah.
I had to call them they.
Yeah.
But
then
they
do the they, and then you got to be careful.
Yeah, that's why I had to
be
use
careful.
the they.
Yeah, this won't happen again.
I feel like the tournament this year has been really fun, but what I haven't had is the guy who we just met. Like, you know, where we just meet a guy for the tournament, and then he's, like, great for a second, and then
Ali Farouchmanek.
Bam.
Is that my guy?
That's a good one.
Yeah, we did a top 5 list last week of, like, Tony's secret sauce players, I guess.
Oh. Like, was Pitt Snoggle on there?
Not
a secret.
Pitt Snoggle.
The secret sauce was just white guys.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
much, yeah.
It was Tony's
You
list.
got to be careful with that. With me. You know what I'm saying? We might have a segment here going forward.
That is true.
Celebrating white people. You know what I mean?
Golf, you can't tease that entirely.
When I had my show in Atlanta, you know, the first day of March, I did White History Month celebrating average white athletes who have been overlooked in the years.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, somebody had to. You know, somebody had to extol the virtues of John Koncak and Carl Mecklenburg and people of that ilk. You feel me? Chris Dudley didn't do what he did in his career for someone not to shine a light on.
Was I OLI? You know, I had a hit off Matt Latos in my high school career.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know,
I believe you.
I knew
that seems sincere.
No, it is. It is. Everything about me is. Ask Jackie with the mid. You know.
Well, that's why we wanted to do a top 5 list of athletes who maybe were overlooked in March Madness history.
Oh, I get to read again. That's fun.
Oh, you're reading it?
Top 5, sponsored by Jimmy John's. They're finally here, and they're hot. Try the new toasted sandwiches at Jimmy John's. Order one today.
Shorter swing on that one. You know, your hips were flying open on the first one, but shorter swing.
He still
compact.
said Burby.
Burby.
Hitting for contact.
I think I'm going to call it that from here on out.
If I hold on.
Can I get a Burby with one rock?
If I meet somebody and they call it Burby, I know that person got a problem. They got a real problem. Don't you have a cute nickname for poison like that?
Like nose beers?
Yeah.
You know what's not poison? Jimmy John's.
Not
Delicious.
at all.
Shout out to
Delicious.
Jimmy John's.
Delicious.
Yeah.
OLI, Jimmer Fredette.
Oh, I know. Is this going to be – all right, I don't want to ruin it. I feel like this might be a similar list to the other list.
I don't know. Number 5, Cooper Flagg.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Number 4, Zion Williamson.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, Caitlin Clark.
Oh, we back.
I see what we're doing.
We back.
Number 2, Steph Curry.
Oh, wait a minute.
These are the March Madness performances we never talk about, guys.
That is true.
We're
What
always
happened to
talking
that
about the
guy?
secret sauce, guys.
I
What
remember
about
that kid
number
from
1?
Davidson?
I remember him. He was so cute.
Michael Jordan.
It's so wrong, but so right.
I mean, it's true. These guys are there. We don't talk about their March Madness performances at all.
Because we're busy talking about Golke.
Carmelo.
Oh, Carmelo.
Oh, that's a good one.
Would have been timely.
Shoot.
Do a better job.
All right,
Atlanta
make your
Hawks
own
legend.
list. This is
Do you
my
remember?
list.
Do you remember that guy Andrew Lovedale on that Davidson team? That's
Absolutely
who I
not.
remember from
Absolutely
that
not.
Elite Eight.
Of course,
Elite Eight run.
Of course,
I
Charlie.
do not remember
Charlie
Andrew.
finds the person who he can, who
relate to.
resonates with him.
You relate to. I bet you Andrew Lovedale's dad probably also looked at him and said, "Be an athlete for once."
Or
No, he was like, "We support you, son. we'll do whatever it takes."
and Andrew Lovedale looked at his dad and said, "You weren't there.
You ain't see it.
You
man.
ain't see it.
You tell me to cut back. I'm trying to cut back.
It went off me, coach.
I love this time of the year, the festival of missed jump shots that is the NCAA tournament. You know what I mean?
But now we're at this Final Four. That's a hilarious name for it. But
Yeah,
at
that's
this
all it
current
is.
Final Four, I feel like maybe it's not that. We got to really.
No.
I mean, the Elite Eight round was there were some rough
Look at the
games on,
numbers.
like, both sides.
Nothing says college basketball like swinging to an open shooter who you know is gonna miss it. You know, show me that's why the Cinderella stuff is overplayed for me.
Yeah.
Show me the pros. I am here to watch the pros. You can have your cheerleaders, you can have your bands, you can have your allegiances to a better time when you were skinnier and cooler in life in college. I'm here to watch the professional players.
There are quite a few. Well, I guess if you by percentage maybe not, but there are a lot of pros in this Final Four.
There's old dudes pushing around kids, is what they're like. When Rick,
the young dudes.
When Rick Pitino could look in a camera and say, "Well, yeah, we ain't recruiting any high school players. Right. We just go into the transfer portal." Janai Broom is what 28 years old, pushing people around. Like,
but I mean, the Duke guys are young. Knupple's young, and Cooper Flagg's young. They're young.
Yeah. But you know, you know why I'm here. Like, I can't believe you. Hey, how about the Duke guys? You said Con Knipple and Cooper Flagg?
I've been trying to come up with like a top 5 athletes who connote breasts list for like 3 weeks now, and Knipple's really all I got. Like I have
Gibson.
That's exactly where I was going to
Booby
go.
Feaster is, but that's a deep cut. So
not Booby Gibson's not a deep cut.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 2 now. It's only
I'd
3
love to
more.
make one up, but it'd probably get me kicked off the show.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well,
Is there anyone named Cans? I don't know.
Bombs McGee? Is that where we're going with here? You can't take us down this road.
Okay, yeah,
You can't take us down
The Texas Rangers this year, I guess.
I would. Oh, that's right. Well played. I wanted to get into the dopeness of intricacies. It's a phrase that you coined just a few segments ago.
Open mouth and say things.
What about Tito Horford?
Yikes.
Wow.
Yikes.
That's how you pronounce it, right? Tito?
Yikes.
The dopeness
I
of
love him just on Jeremy all day, but in an earnest way. Like,
It's great because
we
it's
all
totally
roll our-
changing the normal structure
No,
of the
we
show.
all roll our eyes and we're like, shut up, Jeremy, and you're like, yikes, that's a bad joke.
Is that how you feel you're treated here, Jeremy?
How I feel, it's just a fact.
No, talk about it though, man. We just went through
it's
our
okay.
dad trauma.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's fine.
Go
Everyone
ahead.
knows I
Yeah.
talk about it pretty openly.
Do
Yeah,
people
they
just say "shut up, Jeremy"? And then
Yeah,
you-
literally, like almost every day. Yeah,
After
when
the
I
last
talk.
segment.
Mm-hmm.
You're strong. You're
Yeah,
strong
it's because
man.
I like have
We
you know,
follow our
stuff to
leader,
say
and Dan hates him.
Yeah,
so.
he does.
Oh, you're the
I don't know
Tony,
what it
you're
is.
the Tony Koo coach of the team.
He also hates us too, though, Chris.
Yeah, but he hates me in a different way.
Oh.
In a way where he like
You don't
talks
feel like-
This
about
is
it
the
with
thing.
real
You're
disdain.
not special.
I know.
Damn.
But see, this is I just try hard and everyone sees it and it's annoying.
give us-
I know it
give
is.
us
We
something
just
we
let
can look
Chris
forward
off
to.
the
Theater
hook for
kid.
Tito. Like, what are we doing?
Tito is tough. That's tough.
That was tough.
That's tough. You know,
Definitely
no
tough.
punishment from here
Jeremy,
on out,
don't
Jack.
let him off the hook for that.
It was me.
It doesn't seem like he's ever been let off the hook though.
You thought it was me. You thought it was him,
whoa,
but
I
yeah,
thought-
we have
never
similar
mind.
voices
Charlie
sometimes.
thought I said
Yeah, it was me, dude. Tito Horford.
It
Charlie,
just seems like something Chris would say.
It does. Hand up, my bad. I just Chris seems more like a Tito guy.
I tried to give it to him.
The
He's
funny
an
thing
ass
is,
man, actually.
Jeremy like said it to the room.
That's good.
Oh, Jesus.
Jeremy said it to the room, and I even waved it off. I was like, not that one.
It's one of those they all sounded like moments, huh, Charlie? That was tough.
Oh,
He's
my
more of an
gosh.
ass man.
I've been trying. Yeah, well played.
I tried to tell my family that I was coming here to do, hard charging sports talk. And,
Work?
Did you not know which show you were going on?
I do get the show.
Yes.
I do get the show and understand the show, but I didn't think it would be this fun.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to be like, I'm going to Miami for work.
You just wait. I'll explain to you how tough it is when we leave the show. This is the first time I've left home in I don't know how long. The last time I left home was to do Dominique's show, and my baby came 12 hours into the trip, right? So I had to go back home. Now, it's like anytime I leave, there's a catastrophe.
Your wife probably don't like me, huh?
No, she loves you.
No, she don't.
No, she loves you.
The 2 times, once you come to New York and leave her alone, you made it back in time.
Leave her alone.
No, I'm saying from her perspective, you left her alone.
She didn't feel that way.
On the doorsteps of pregnancy.
Well,
you made it back in time. And then the
did.
next time that you come to do something with and for me, you in the BBL capital of the world. She got to be looking at me like I'm trouble.
Well, she knows that the BBLs really aren't my thing.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Titto guy.
I'm a Titto guy, exactly. You know, I mean, shout out to her. You know, she provides the Titto orphan in my life. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm really not a BBL guy.
I mean,
I like a
BBL
natural, more natural look. Yeah.
But I mean, the B, everyone appreciates
Oh,
the
yeah,
B.
without
Okay,
question.
okay.
Yeah, shout out to the Bs.
I've been trying to get to the dopeness of intricacies for a while, man. I really wanted to talk about the dopeness. No apologies needed because none of those detours are anyone's I regret. I love it. But I feel as though we're getting to the end of this conversation, so I'm going to steer it back to the dopeness of intricacies. And I know that this is something that Charlie complains about in the past with like film guys, but this is different. What I really like, and one of the things in my social media algorithm right now, is football player explains the mental part of the game. And I saw Luke Kuechly the other day explaining how him and Thomas Davis outsmarted a quarterback. And like whenever those things come up, I am enthralled because I have experience telling these stories myself, having been around Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, guys who are like really, really smart guys. I hate to use the word geniuses, but like they're advanced thinkers and when it comes to the game. And I love those clips on the internet. And I don't feel like I see them for all sports. Sometimes I'll hear a baseball guy explain how he worked a pitcher or understood something. But football is the sport that has the level of complexity that allows for that. It's so rare to hear like the basketball guys talk about how they saw this play and they said this. But I did see one in a tournament where I think it was
Matt Painter?
No, it was Samson. I think the team that they were playing against were defending the inbound by pulling off the on-ball guy every time, and then at the end they had a play designed, and I was like, oh, I saw somebody explain it to me. I was like, oh, I love the dopeness of intricacies.
The dopeness of intricacies. By the way, you could buy that album wherever you stream your albums. I think it happens because. Or it doesn't happen enough because it gets programmed out of people by people who think that fans aren't smart enough, right? To use a layman's term, smart enough to understand these things. Like I've seen players who have to boil it down to something that the listener or the consumer doesn't need it boiled down to, and then after a while, all you're doing is talking in cliches and sound bites. And anytime I can hear a baseball player talk about their front shoulder or what's happening, changing the eye level in terms of pitch sequence, all those things make you smarter and more. It makes you feel like you're more involved as a fan, but. You've got program directors, you've got producers, you've got people who keep it as dense as you possibly can because our audience doesn't understand it. Guess what? You alienating your offense and insulting your audience by not telling them what's going on the field. And also, they like to attribute those things to nothing but instincts. That's film work.
Yeah.
That's film work. That's someone doing their homework and then acing the test on the field.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is if it is jargon laden. Like, if you can explain something that happened on the field in a way that is not full of jargon that the person that the listener gets confused, it's different.
But
you can
every
explain
man
it in a
wants
way.
to do that, though. Every man who walks into a bar is like, hey, I know what a cover, look, certain men, I should say, I know what a cover 2 is. That, like, you feel emboldened and you feel like you're a part of the process. Like, the jargon, calling curveballs yackers and Uncle Charlie's back in the day. You never heard Uncle Charlie? It feels racist.
It does.
It's baseball.
I've never heard. I didn't play baseball. A yacker? Hey, Chris.
I didn't play baseball either.
So
I've been around it for a while.
A yacker is a curveball?
I have not heard that one, but it could
Uncle
be.
Charlie?
Uncle Charlie?
Uncle Charlie, I definitely
Hey,
heard.
don't say that.
Yeah. What? Uncle Charlie?
I don't like it.
You
can
had an
say
issue
it.
with Uncle Charlie?
No, you can say it. I just didn't like the way it sounded the way Chris said Uncle Charlie.
I'm pretty sure you said it, and I was like, yeah, I've heard that one.
I know.
Did I even say it?
You didn't say it.
You
did he?
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
Damn it, I said it.
Damn it, Chris.
Internet lives forever. Chester Taylor.
Blackest show ever.
I have a top 5 list.
Chester Taylor.
Ooh, we got a top 5 list. You look so excited about this top 5 list. I'm nervous.
Thanks. OLI, the Minnesota Twins.
Oh, I know what top 5
The Twinkies.
list is.
Jug McSpaden.
You don't know anything.
Jordan Tata.
Oh,
There we go.
We're back.
Number 5, Jesse Rack. Number 4, Jose Canseco. Number 3, Con Knipple. Number 2, Booby Feaster. Number 69 for the Ohio Bobcats, Parker Titsworth.
What?
That can't.
You made that up.
Number 69.
I love it. What about Fernando Tatis?
Make your own list.
Yeah. You got a point there.
I love you. Shut up. Oh, man. I need more top 5s.
Yeah,
I need more Uncle Charlie talk.
Oh, gosh.
I need more dopeness of intricacies.
Yeah, dopeness of intricacies is my favorite.
ESPN.
By far.
I'd love to hang up on somebody right now. You want me to hang up on myself?
Good old fashioned.
Yeah. When's the last time you hung up on somebody? When's the last time, you know what? This conversation is over, even if you don't think it's over.
The problem is, I think people under the age of 30 no longer answer the phone anymore. So, like, half the people in this
So
room
what
are
is it?
like-
Is it just leaving somebody on red? Like, what is the modern version of that?
Hanging up?
I don't think that the impulse is left. I also don't feel like that feels like a high school or like junior high thing where I would find myself in conversations where I got so angry that I had to hang up. Like, I don't remember the last time I felt the need to hang up on somebody.
Oh, look at Dominique.
What?
Look at Dominique. Huh? Look at Dominique Cosby over here.
Whoa! I don't know.
I meant Heathcliff Huxtable.
Whoa!
I meant Heathcliff, like as good a dad as he was.
Can I be
on the
Uncle
show,
Phil?
on the
Uncle
show.
Phil.
We can't do R. Kelly and
Carl
Cosby
Winslow.
Cosby in the same segment.
Yeah,
Well,
that is.
You're right.
I made somebody. Uncle
I mean, you're
Phil?
stunting on us with your happiness in your life. That's all that was.
No, it's not.
I don't know the last time I
James Evans.
Well, shout out to James Evans.
Felt the same vibe. Yep.
Yeah,
You're
Rest
not,
of all,
you're not
Johnny
better
Amos.
than me.
that's all it was.
I don't think it is.
I don't know the last time, in my athlete and now, broadcaster life that I had to actually feel I had to end a conversation abruptly with a loved one. You haven't hung up on a coworker or you haven't told somebody to get off you haven't hung up on a telemarketer?
Oh, yeah.
All right, then
But
what are we talking about?
I guess it's the.
Now you get the scam likely, so I don't answer those anymore.
I put that as the name for contacts of people who I don't want to talk to. This way I have that distance.
Clearly you're showing your privilege.
With
You
what?
don't by never answering a strange number.
Yeah, I don't have to do
Sometimes-
that. All my bills are paid.
See, y'all dunking on me. It's not about bills being paid.
For me, it is.
I mean, the
Quality of life for a black man starts at, are your bills paid? And then after that, take care of the family, do something for yourself every 6
Not
months.
comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I wake up with worries.
Just one time I want to see scam unlikely, and then I'll answer.
That's
I haven't
usually
seen that yet.
That's usually apparent.
This is So since you guys think that I was stunting on you by saying I didn't hang up, I occasionally answer unknown calls from places when they're from a particular part of the country because I might be getting a call from a relative in prison. You gotta answer it.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
gotta
put
answer
some
it.
money on his books.
No, I refuse. I'm done
No?
putting money on books. I'm done.
No?
I'm done. The one thing I do hate.
We're getting into Republican Dominic here.
Oh no.
Wait a minute.
Nah, there's enough money on the books. I put plenty.
You're right. You're right.
Scam likely is calling and it's just your kids.
You're getting audited.
Real deal. No, it usually is your kid. Somebody always wants something on the phone. When's the last time the phone went off and you were like, hey, I want to do something for you? When's the last time the phone rang or a text came through like, I'm tired of people wanting to pick my brain. I'm tired of people wanting to, hey, I'm getting in the business. Well, guess what? Get it out the mud like I did. Figure it out.
You call me a Republican. You just bootstrapped everybody who wants some help.
Not everybody, but the people I know who are going to fail. Like, don't send people who I know are going to fail to my phone. That's all I ask.
You just want a hard worker who is going to win, like our man, Jackie with the mid. Coming up, pitch clock.
ESPN.
Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch. A two-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock. Pitch Clock is back after a pretty crazy first week of the season. And our trivia game is back to start here. It's me, it's Chris.
Hello.
But it's also our resident baseball expert who will be showing off his knowledge of the 2025 season in just a moment, but has to be angry over the nostalgia trivia game that we always play. It's Mike Schur. Mike Schur, welcome back to the Pitch Clock.
Couldn't be more excited and also more terrified to be playing this game again.
Taylor, what are we doing today and why will we be disappointed?
We're going back to Old Reliable. It's 3 strikes and you're out. Alternating guesses. You could flip those papers. Mike, you could see the picture that I sent you. From 2000 to 2009, there were 44 times that a player had a WAR of 8 or better in a single season. And since you guys have the teams listed, I need the year and the team that you're guessing.
Well, I feel good about this.
All right. You feel so good? Why don't you go first, Chris?
Okay. I am going to go with 2006 Albert Pujols.
That is correct.
Mike Schur.
I mean, this is a layup. 2001 Bonds.
Yeah.
2001 Bonds. I'm assuming.
On the Giants.
I'm going to say the 2001 Chicago Cub is Sammy Sosa.
It is Sammy Sosa.
I'm going to say the 2002 Giant is Barry Bonds.
It is Barry Bonds.
Now, this is interesting because there are some Giants logos on this piece of paper, Mike Schur.
I'm gonna say the 2003 Giants is Barry Bonds.
It is Barry Bonds.
Oh, do I want to do it? All right, I'm going to say it even if I might be wrong. I know this is his last year. I'm saying it. 2004 Giants. Is that Barry Bonds?
Jeremy, I hate to say this.
It's not?
It is Barry Bonds.
It is Barry Bonds. Hooray.
2002 Texas Ranger Alex Rodriguez.
It is A-Rod.
There's a lot of easy layups on the board here, but I'll go as 2001 Diamondbacks Luis Gonzalez.
It's not Luis Gonzalez.
Oh,
wow.
no.
Get out of here.
That is a strike.
Wow. I'm going to go ahead and say that the 2006 New York Met is Carlos Beltran.
Wow. I was surprised somebody went to that early. It is Carlos Beltran.
Yes. I'm gonna
Shocker.
I'm gonna continue to be a coward and just take the easiest ones on here. I'm gonna take A-Rod 2003 Ranger.
It is A-Rod.
Yeah, there he is.
I'll say that 07 was also Pujols.
Correct.
That was the right move. 2001 Arizona Diamondback Randy Johnson.
Correct.
And on the right, we'll go with the righty Kurt Schilling.
Correct.
There he is.
2007 Yankees has to be A-Rod.
It was A-Rod.
All right, we've kicked Chris Cody out of the room. It is just me and Mike Schur. We're actually talking about MLB in 2025 because after a week, it's been a really interesting start of the season, but there is no story that has swept the globe more than the Torpedo bats. It's torpedoed our chance of talking about anything else. Mike, what is your take here on this newly designed bat and the way really that this story has exploded over the last week?
As soon as I saw it, I knew two things. Number one, obviously I'm furious, but number two, it's legal. They've had it checked out and it's smart and a good idea. And this is a classic example of someone in baseball just choosing to question something that everyone had taken as gospel for the eternity of the sport and saying like, well, why is the bat shaped like this? Why shouldn't it be shaped differently in a way that helps the hitters? And it's a very Bill Belichick kind of a move is what it is. The data seems to suggest that this gives hitters an advantage. And frankly, even though it's the Yankees, I'm thrilled that hitters are getting some advantage because every advantage in the last 20 years has gone to pitchers.
That's right.
And if we can have something that helps the game and just increases the amount of offense in the game, I think that's only good, even though it's horrifying that it's the Yankees. Everyone in baseball will be using these bats within 3 months.
I look, Mike, I genuinely hate to go negative at any point in Major League Baseball, and I particularly am not exactly excited to do it with you and your team. But as our resident Red Sox expert, I do feel like I have to ask you about Rafael Devers. Because
why?
This has been
what's been happening?
Well, Mike,
I haven't followed it closely.
After being moved from his natural position, or at least the position he had been playing of third base, he has started the season to the point of this recording 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. What in the world is going on with Rafael Devers, and do you think that this is something that can and will be fixed with him?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think this is a situation where like there's a bunch of things that are all true and contradictory. It is true that he is a little bit sensitive about, like, I would say, the mental aspect of the game. It is also true that he is a terrible defensive third baseman and that Bregman is a much better defensive third baseman, and it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. You know, he had a shoulder injury in the summer last year, and if you look at his bat speed, starting at the moment that injury happened, his bat speed has gone down pretty much every month since that injury. So I don't think that this is necessarily just a sort of like this, he's a head case situation. I think he's had a shoulder injury, and I think his bat speed is really slow. And if you've watched his at-bats, which I tragically have, he's swinging right through like
everything,
92-mile-an-hour cutters that are over the heart of the plate. And I don't think that someone who's as good a hitter as he is suddenly starts just missing 92 middle. So I think it's going to be fine. It's just that because of the Boston media and because of the scrutiny in general on a guy who has a $300 million contract, until he has a weekend where he goes 7 for 12 with 2 homers, this is all anyone's going to talk about.
I agree with you completely. Partially mental, partially physical, but he also did become the first hitter since 1901 through 5 games for his team to have 0 hits and 15 strikeouts. I mean, a truly remarkably rough stat that Taylor, the Yankee fan, just fed to me while you were giving me all of your very positive analysis. 2005 St. Louis Cardinal Albert Pujols.
You went with 05.
05, it is Pujols.
Oh, thank God.
I am continuing to be a coward. 2004 Albert Pujols, Cardinals.
One of the Cardinals, correct.
Man.
Mike Scher, I have an update here. Luis Gonzalez's WAR in 2001 was 7.9.
Perfect.
Serves me right.
Sure, you're back up again.
2008 Philly has to be Utley.
The 2008 Philly is Utley.
Okay. Ooh, let's go to the end of this list. 2009 Tampa Bay Rays, Evan Longoria.
Nope.
No!
Strike.
Right. Wow. Mike Scher, myself have a strike, but Chris Cody.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Thus far with no strikes on the board.
There's still, I think, a couple easy ones on here, I think. I'm going to go 2000 Rocky, Todd Helton.
Todd Helton is correct.
Wow, that's a good one.
I mean, I hate to do this, but the 2008 Cardinals also going to be Pujols, right?
Pujols continues the run.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Pujols in 08.
So is it him in 09? I'm not going to go with him yet. I'm gonna go back to 2001, and I'm going to use the Oakland Athletics. I'm going to say Miguel Tejada.
Dang. I'm going to go, just going to keep it Randy Johnson, 2002 Arizona Diamondbacks.
Which one?
On the left.
Correct.
2000 Mariners is still available, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's going to be A-Rod.
Had to be.
It is A-Rod.
Yeah.
Wow.
The real question is the next year. Like, what year, what year did he go?
Right.
Just remind
I mean, 2005 Yankees, Alex Rodriguez.
Jeremy stays alive. It is
A lot of A-Rod, huh?
A lot of A-Rod. A lot of A-Rod, a lot of Pujols.
Good
That
decade,
makes
huh?
sense.
Good decade.
Good for those two.
I'm going to go with Kurt Schilling, 2002 Diamondback.
Chris stays hot.
Chris, I feel
You
like
guys
you
are, like,
just said the
leaving
same
some of the
names
layups.
over and
You're
over.
kinda leaving some.
Yeah, I
Okay,
shouldn't have done
so
that A.
so 2001 Mariners, A-Rod's gone.
I know who
this
it
is
is
the
here,
Ichiro
right?
year, and this is the Brett Boone year. That's Brett Boone.
Wow.
You said a lot of names there.
It is Brett Boone.
I thought he was going Ichiro.
Yeah.
I can't
No.
believe
Wow.
it. I'm going to take your hint because you just said A-Rod's gone. I'm sticking in 2001. I'm going with the Texas Rangers, and I'm going Alex Rodriguez.
Good strategy. It is A-Rod.
I have a
I'll go Todd Helton again, 04 Rockies.
It is Todd Helton again.
It is. Wow.
I'm embarrassed about not choosing a Red Sox yet. So 2003, Ortiz doesn't start hitting until May.
Right.
I'm gonna say it's Pedro.
It is Pedro.
I nailed it. Had to as the Red Sox guy. I just said that I was going to not be risky and that I was just trying to put bat on ball. But this guy came to mind, and I feel like I have to say it. 2004, Dodgers, Sean Green.
That's strike three.
Oh, that's a good guess, though.
I really thought it was going to be
He
him.
goes down swinging.
Let's go to something positive. Because, hey, our Miami Marlins, and I'm including you in that, Mike Schur, walked off 3 times in the opening weekend. They became the first team to do it in 22 years. And their in-division rival, the Atlanta Braves, got off to a terrible start to the season. Which of those two things made you smile more? The Braves' terrible start or the Marlins' fluky and fun 3 walk-offs in the first weekend?
Oh, Marlins by far. I mean, a Marlins getting a bunch of walk-off wins with a roster full of players that literally no one, including me, has ever heard of is a very fun story. And like, I live for the weeks and months that teams provide their fans with hope and joy, and because that's really what you count on baseball if you're a baseball fan, to give you 6 months of entertainment. And if your team stinks, these moments, these weeks of like, oh my God, what a fun week we just had with this team. Like, there's nothing better than that. And so the Marlins' hot start, or their walk-off run, was truly delightful. Like, I had nothing but happiness for the fans of Miami, which I can't say about any other sport in your ridiculous town.
Final question for you. After a week of baseball, I'm going to ask you for the opinion of yours that you've already held about 2025 that was influenced the most in the first weekend, either in an affirming way of saying, I was right and I continued to be proven right, or a team or a player that you looked at and went, you know what? I might have been wrong about that going into the year. Maybe that could be something different.
Well, I mean, sadly, my opinion of the Yankees was that they're finally maybe gonna finish below 500, because losing Cole for the year, losing Luis Gil for at least 3 months, like I was like, they're relying on Paul Goldschmidt and Bellinger for power. And then, they go absolutely nuclear in their first 5 games and just look like world beaters, which is, of course, why didn't I see this coming? I don't know why I roll this particular rock up the hill. I will say that my other kind of secret prediction was that Ellie De La Cruz might win the MVP this year. Through the first couple of games, I thought that was a very bad prediction. And then now that he's using the torpedo bet, he's back, baby, like Ellie De La Cruz. So I mean, it would be hard for him to actually win the MVP, because I don't think his team is going to be that good. But man, oh man, you know who else? The Cruz brothers, as I think of them in my head, those two absolute baseball monsters, Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz. If those gigantic wreckers of the sport could both have put together full years of like whatever their ceiling is, that would just be so fun to watch. It would give everyone a reason to tune into NL Central games in May. And I would like to believe that that's possible.
Cruz on Cruz crime. I'm pretty sure Adnan Virk came on here last week and predicted Vladdy Jr. and Ellie De La Cruz as his MVPs, which would be so fun for Major League Baseball if that ended up being the case. He also, though, said, I believe, Diamondbacks and Royals as his World Series. Taylor, I am going to give you 1 second here just to say what you said in my ear as Mike Schur was talking.
The death of the Yankees greatly exaggerated.
Unfortunately for you, Mike, I kind of think the Yankees are a really, really, really likable team, but we'll continue to explore that.
No,
we'll continue to explore it. No. Unfortunately, Mike, we don't have the time. We have to get back to our competition. 1 strike for Mike Schur. No strikes for Chris Cody. Can Chris maintain the lead down the stretch? Chris Cody, you're up.
I'm definitely not as confident as I was through the first few of these. But I'm going to go, I think this has Johan Santana, Twins, 04.
Johan, correct.
There he
Damn.
is.
2000 Red Sox is Pedro.
Yeah.
It is Pedro.
Yeah, had to be.
It's like the greatest year of all time.
I'm going to just Albert Pujols, 03, Cardinal.
The Pujols train continues.
God, this is crazy. You have said Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson, and Albert Pujols like 6 times.
I worked in an A-Rod.
Like 2004 Cardinals, who the Red Sox defeated in the World Series, had one of the great hitting years off of right-handers in the modern era was Jim Edmonds. And I'm going to say that because he played center field, I'm going to say that the other Cardinals, Jim Edmonds.
What a pull. I don't know if it's right.
Strike two.
Wow. No! I'm just going to say I'll take a strike if it's not Chris Carpenter.
It's not Chris Carpenter.
Wow, damn it. That's okay. You took one.
2000 Braves is still around, right?
Yep.
That's Andrew Jones.
It is Andrew Jones. And I have an update. Jim Edmonds WAR in 2004, 7.2.
This is crazy.
This is insane.
Man, you are, when you're off, at least you're not Sean Green off.
I am going to go Roy Halladay, 03 Blue Jays.
That's a great guess. That's a great one.
David Wright.
David Wright in 2007 is correct.
I'm going to go Randy Johnson, 04 Diamondbacks.
It was Randy Johnson.
Man.
All right. There's another obvious one, I think, because nobody on the 2009 Royals could hit, which means that has to be Cy Young Award winner Zach Greinke.
Yep. It is great.
Damn it. Wow.
Dodgers, 04 Matt Kemp.
Dodgers 04, my friends, is, I believe, maybe MVP winner.
No.
Adrian Beltre.
Okay.
It is Adrian Beltre.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, this is where Schur gets me. I'm going to just go, since you said him in 2008, I'm going to say Chase Utley, 09 Phillies.
Way to foul this one off. You stay alive.
Nice job.
2004 Mariners, that I believe is the year Ichiro set the hits record.
It is Ichiro.
So
it's Ichiro.
I guess that's a guess. I mean, geez. I'm going to go with David Price, 09 Rays.
That's not.
Oh, no.
Mike Schur needs this to win.
Damn it!
Mike Schur.
I think I got the A. It's either Tejada or Giambi, but I think it's Giambi.
It is Giambi.
Wow!
I told you
got
this
it
guy,
with Giambi.
Even when he's down. Who was the 2000 Diamondback?
Can I get that? Was that also Randy Johnson?
It was Randy.
That was Randy Johnson.
Is the 2004 Dodger J.D. Drew?
The Brave.
It was the
Brave.
2004
I'm sorry.
It was J.D. Drew.
Shut the up. What?
He's hopping around.
He has jumped up
he's
out
doing
of
a
his
victory
chair
lap.
to run around. That feels like the only way.
That is.
I just took a victory lap.
That's the way that we have to end this episode of the Pitch Clock. Taylor, please give us the rest of our answers.
2000, the only one you guys missed was Darren Erstad.
Oh,
2004, J.D. Drew. The Cardinal was Scott Rowland.
All right.
2009, the Cardinal, it was Albert Pujols.
Ugh.
The Ray was Ben Zobrist.
Ben Zobrist.
Ben Zobrist!
Wow! What a way to end it. Ben Zobrist from A to Zobrist.
Spoiled
on this
again.
Podcast. Mike, thank you.
That's right. It's Thursday Thunder.
That's
and
right.
It's brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Juju Gotti, what do we got?
Thursday Thunder, March Madness, I see you, you got to know if you don't. Last week, we took an elbow in the eye, we took a fist to the nose, we took a knee to the damn stomach. And look, out of bounds on me, coach. That was one of the worst picks ever for Thursday Thunder. I think I might have went 1 for 4. But today, we back, Daddy. Johnny Broom, the oldest man to ever grace a NCAA basketball court. We gonna go 11 rebounds for my dog. He had 11 rebounds in the first half last week, and you got to know he gonna get 11 in a full game against Florida and them boys. Salute to my dog. I see you.
Juju, quick question: is he older than Perry Ellis? Because Perry Ellis is like 45 years old.
He older than Ossie Davis Jr. Like my dog is old, brother.
I've never seen Ossie Davis young. I've never seen a young Ossie Davis.
Like Morgan Freeman.
Yep.
Right. Second leg, I'm going with Thomas Houck. Or some people call him Thomas Houck. I don't know. H-A-U-G-H. All I do know is my dog gonna get more than 1-3 in the game against Auburn this Friday. You feel me? So we taking my boy for over 1-3. You got to know, because they gonna need it when they facing such an old and experienced team. Salute to them boys in Auburn. Last leg, you got to know, I'm going with the biggest gangster in the NCAA. On the women's side, you got to dig it, Paige Buchers. My sister got that look in her eyes these days. I don't know if y'all see what I see, but she see that championship. You got to know it. Paige Buchers for over 25 points easily against UCLA. Jaime Jaquez's little sister, I see you, but not this weekend. Paige is gonna light you on fire. You got to see it.
They call her Paige Buchers.
There we go. All right, we're in there. We're done with Thursday Thunder.
Before we get to anything else, I like to start the show by saying this: lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmony.
You don't have to stand, Cody, if you don't want to.
Take your hat off first.
Hey, show some respect. Hats off.
Yeah.
We did it, guys.
Charlie looks so confused. You didn't know what just happened back
It's a
there?
monumental moment.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to stand up.
Be an ally
you're
for
fine.
once.
Yeah,
All
you're an
right,
ally, but
Charlie.
you're fine, Sid.
Took a knee for some reason.
Dan is so pissed right now.
Like,
Dad is in the bed, waking up like, all those black bodies. There's just so many black bodies in my studio. Brent Williams.
Hey, where the hell is Carl? Carl, bring your behind there.
Where's another
Yeah, Carl out there.
Frankie. Oh, yeah.
Carl,
Frankie.
Frankie, everybody in here, damn it. Get them.
It's a takeover.
Just come in and wave or something.
Takeover.
Taylor?
Taylor.
He's like,
we don't claim that.
I'm not sure.
We don't claim it.
Say still.
No, I love.
Hey, I'm gonna stand up for Taylor. He's
I
not.
love Taylor.
All right, just double checking. Just double checking.
I claim
too
Taylor.
far.
I love him, man. Taylor was awesome yesterday.
I hope I didn't bring this energy to the show. I hope it wasn't me.
I'm not gonna lie, like today was I'm not gonna lie. We started off, they had us in the first half. What? We was down 17 points at the half. Like the crowd was booing. The YouTube chat was fighting each other.
What happened in the second quarter when I left? Because when I left, we were up.
No, that's not.
we were
up.
I don't think you was paying attention to the score when you left, brother, because we was down.
Usually when a sub is playing.
I'm your brother.
So when we sub Jeremy in.
I said, Burby, relax.
No, we take responsibility.
Some of us do. You can tell by the lack of thumbs that Amin has.
He's learning. He's learning to take responsibility.
I got thumbs. I got
learning to take responsibility. Juju,
but that halftime speech must have been phenomenal because we came out in the third quarter, touchdowns. You know what I mean? Whatever sport we playing, goal from the corner kick by my dog Jason.
When Chris said Burby, it was like an open court like dunk after we were already up 40.
Oh yeah.
Then my dog Charlie hit the half court buzzer beater with I have you drunk in Ubers. Oh my God.
Look,
Set the crowd on fire.
Josh Giddey shot.
I'm gonna tell you
Good
right
pass,
now.
good
I'm gonna
pass,
tell you
Amin.
exactly.
Good pass, Amin.
Thank you
pass,
for
Amin.
noticing.
No problem.
'Cause
Good pass.
I did this. I did the Dwayne Wade, and then I just stared at the camera.
Nothing like when the tertiary player needs some, some
gotta
applause.
do it. Hey, I know what I'm doing here. I know what I'm doing here.
You're keeping everything settled, right?
I know what everybody needs.
Wait,
man.
who's the tertiary player?
Nobody. Hey, nobody. We are all
Me.
primaries.
It's me. It's
primaries.
me.
Great crochet.
I know what tertiary means, but I don't think my brother Roy know what it means.
Whoa, no. You direct that to Chris.
It's not Roy.
No, it's the blackest show ever.
Jackie with the mid don't know what it means.
Speaking of tertiary players, Pelle Larsson averaging 15-5-5 over his last 3 games since entering the starting lineup.
Way to go. This is at the end of a college
Three-pointer
game.
by the
At
opposition.
the end of the college game, when we clear the bench and he put the guys in,
For
want to
GPA?
get some shots up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some
The,
shots
the
up.
other team just fouled for no reason. Like, they're already going to lose. We could have just called it, but.
Running clock.
Oh, got to get all the walk-ons on the floor, baby.
Juju, do you have any polls update for us?
I got some polls, but I got a couple of notes before we get to that.
Okay.
I know you said earlier, like, you know what I mean, like the NBA and the NFL, they be so innovative and they be willing to change some of these rules, like the overtime rule is changing next year. You feel me? Because it's a lot of complaints. Hear me out. I know it's gonna sound crazy upon hearing it, but 3-point dunks, brothers and sisters, like make it just as important as them long heaves and make the late game scenario. Now you got to D up, because if I dunk and get the 3 from Giannis, or I can pass it to Dame Time from the logo. I mean, just hear me out. It might need some ankle grease or some WD-40, but just hear me out.
Juju,
I like it.
Juju, I don't think it's a bad idea. The only problem I could see with it is we get into, is that a dunk or not? That's what we're gonna get into.
You
Like,
got to grab the rim, right? And also where you jumping from, right? If you jump from outside the paint,
that's a 4-point play.
Is it a 3-point dunk, 4-point
See
dunk?
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cooking with hot grease.
I like it.
We cooking with grease. Also, we got to put a trigger warning on the screen before we throw Cody toes up on the screen.
Yeah. What are we doing?
I was eating breakfast.
No wonder the lead dwindled when I was gone.
I think.
I love how Amin sees this a different way than the rest of us.
Everybody.
Y'all, you guys know, you around great players, man. They see it differently.
Oh,
I mean,
I just did it again. All right, this is like the other team hit a couple of threes, and the lead has been eaten into. It's not
a troll's foot.
His feet make the cone look clean.
Nah, we got the lead. Now we went up by 20 around Tito Horford.
Yeah.
Tito Horford.
I said that. Sorry about that.
What? You called him Tito?
Yeah, no, just Tito Horford.
You know me, I'm crazy.
Yeah, that was me.
I'm with
Crazy,
it.
man.
It was.
I like how everyone's credit business. I think it was me.
But it was. I mean, actually, it was
following your example,
You know,
Dad.
It was
like
Jackie with the mid.
when they're like
I had nothing to do with
they're
it.
playing volleyball at the rim, and someone taps it in and goes up, and they run back. I did that.
That's the football
Don't-
version of that is a sack. If a quarterback like stumbles and falls, and 2 D linemen are close to it, they both start celebrating. They start putting their hands up. They both start doing their moves.
Get to the dance. Yeah.
Try to get credit. Got some more notes for us, Amin? I'm sorry.
We all look alike.
It's all good. We all look
Especially,
alike.
especially in today's show.
Racist.
I know.
I can do
I'm
it.
gonna get to the polls. Do you know what a word processor is? And these polls are coming from Instagram story feed. 68% of the audience says yes, they do know what it is.
They think it's Word. If I say what's the word processor? Oh, it's like Microsoft Word. I'm like, no, it was a machine
Right.
called a word processor. What else we got?
Would you like to never get hangovers, not need sleep, and not need coffee? 83% of the audience says yes, they would.
Said it was an irrelevant talent. I'm like, what are you talking
It's not
about?
a talent.
It's absolutely
I
a
mean,
talent. Well, I guess it's not a
mean,
talent because I can't practice it. It just happens.
It's Amin trying to mock us for,
You
for
practice.
not going out.
Oh, for not hanging out last night?
Yeah. As though he's like trying to say that he's better than us.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
cool,
fine.
exactly.
He already showed me who he
The
was.
next poll. Does David Samson wake up in search of things to be mad about? 92% of the audience says yes, he does.
92%, yo.
It seems like it.
Game time.
When someone says, with all due respect, is the disrespect on the way? 95% of the audience says yes, it is.
I appreciate
100%.
I appreciate the wording more than anything. Is the disrespect on the way? Like, yeah,
Pulled into the driveway.
it's coming.
En
It is
route.
on the way.
Priority delivery.
ESPN
And the last poll, has Paige Buchers ever seen Paid in Full?
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes.
Brother,
no.
To America.
I think Paige Beckers has seen it.
No.
100%. Paige?
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a story from, this is now 10 years old, but 10 years ago, Steph Curry hadn't seen Paid in Full.
That doesn't surprise me. Paige Becker's not saying it.
I'm
going to
tell you what surprises me. Seth Curry had. I'm like, how does that happen?
Well, somebody's got to be Taylor Griffin. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, man, that's my guy.
Shout out to Taylor.
TG, man, that's my guy.
Great dude. But I think Seth is going through things that Steph didn't go through. You know, that's all I was trying to say.
What was the poll result for that, Juju?
80% of the audience says no, she hasn't.
What?
I
you
can't
hear this
believe
woman
that
talk?
at
Do
all.
you hear her how she plays?
No, I
Do you
think
watch
the
her?
people who voted on the poll probably didn't know Paid in Full was.
That's what it
You
is.
know who do? I know. I look around this room for people who have seen Paid in Full, and I know Jackie with the mid seen it.
Come
I
on.
guarantee you, Jackie with the mid.
He got
seen it.
forced
know
to
it.
by some like dating situation where he had to sit through it. But yeah, no doubt. Roy, you've seen Paid in Full.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Roy's seen every movie ever. Man.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
Well, not
My
new
man.
ones. Not new ones.
No?
He sees new movies. You've seen
Roy's
new
an
movies.
old movie guy.
Yeah, I've seen old movies. I've seen new movies. I'm a movie guy.
I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Charlie, you do a show with Dominique. Have you ever seen Paid in Full? Did he make you watch it?
Never even heard of it. Just saw
Really?
the movie come for the
Same.
first time.
You never heard of Paid in Full?
Same.
My bad. That's
It's a
on
great
me.
movie.
My
I
responsibility.
said
to make
it's
sure
thriller
that
action.
this is-
2002.
We're trying to create.
It says thriller action?
It does on this Google
That's,
search.
I guess that's what
Google
drug dealing.
search?
I
Check
guess
IMDb.
that's how the
Now
white
that you
folks
say it-
define drug
now that
dealing.
you say it, I don't know what else I would call it other than like
A drug dealing movie.
right, but that's not a category.
It
True
should be.
crime, action, crime,
A
drama.
mob movie, I guess.
It stars that guy from the Eminem song, right?
This guy,
Oh my
right?
goodness. Look, salute. Look, before we get out of here, I want to show some love. Come on, my dog Jeremy, he always take a beating, and I want to make sure we always let Jeremy know we love you, bro.
We love you, Jeremy.
I mess with you heavy. Also, my sister Jessica, you know I got love for you. Charlie, great job, and my dog Chris, of course. You know what I mean? Bravo. But I just want to make a statement, brother. Like, if you out there listening or watching this show, what you see on this screen right now, aside from me, Amin, Dominique, Jason, and Roy, these are positive male influence, positive male black influences that we don't necessarily get to see too much. We see the rappers or the killers or whatever, the athletes who get all the praise, but these brothers got it out the mud and did it the right way. So if you got a kid out there, point them in these directions and you can see a positive black man example and, dare I say, role model amongst the crowd today.
Thank you, brother.
You can tell him to look at Jason Goff, but don't tell him to call Jason Goff because he made it quite clear earlier. I ain't got no help for you. Get it out the mud like I did, right?
That's it. That's it. And
I ain't got no handouts.
Right.
Yeah,
and
no
I
handout.
would love for you to send those words to my baby mama. By the way. I would truly appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Clip it.
I would love for you to do that. Juju, shout out to Juju. I love him for that.
Juju is phenomenal, man. We always closed out the show well with Juju because he brings this positive energy, even though you want everybody to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Juju coming here showing the love, supporting everybody, even gave love to all the people in the shipping container.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, great show.
Shout out to you,
We're up.
Juju.
So we won the series. 3-1, right?
Yeah, we won the series. Yeah. We might get a bonus game tomorrow.
Jeremy, get us the game
One more
5.
heat stats?
And we're back.
And we're back. Game 5. Thanks, everybody.
ESPN